So wait, are there any basketball games in Gargoyles? I'm trying to think.
There aren't.
Not yet.
But there should be, because they could play Standalist during it.
Yeah, exactly.
Or
just like in Madam Web.
It doesn't matter if they know.
World-renowned movie Madam Web.
Madam
and
Web
Catwoman.
and Catwoman.
And Catwoman. And it's got nothing to do with gargoyles. Or does it?
Oh yeah, you know, both have a transformation.
There's a lot of transgender
They both take place in New York.
transformation.
They're both in New York. That's right.
Yep.
Yes.
There is a gargoyle in Catwoman.
What, like the statue?
Yes, there was a gargoyle statue in Catwoman.
Yeah.
She sat next to it at one point.
Oh yeah.
And talks to it like Spider-Man does.
Yes. No, she didn't actually talk to it, but.
Oh, that's great. That's lovely.
Anyways, this is all to say we're talking about Upgrade this episode because that definitely had anything to do with what we were just talking about.
Yeah, we've had like other shit on the mind, like Catwoman and Madam Web. That's what we've been doing for the past 10 months.
We've been a little obsessed.
If you want to know why we've been on hiatus, just blame Catwoman and Madam Web.
This previous Valentine's Day, Hiran got a poster of Madam Web for the house because Valentine's Day is not Valentine's Day to us. It's the anniversary of when we saw Madam Web in theaters. And had like the best time of our lives. It's
oh my gosh. I'm not gonna lie. Like last night I was like, ooh, we're doing Upgrade tomorrow, and I'm like, I'm kinda nervous, and you're like, don't be nervous. Here's this fucking hour-long interview with Dakota Johnson talking about Madam Web, and you'll feel better. And I'm just like looking at this like I'm going to bed.
It made me feel better.
I'm just like, I'm really glad this is our crutch here.
She's so... The way she has, like, no energy whatsoever is, like, the most... she's inspirational to me.
Alright.
Like, I need to let you all know that when we walked out of the theaters, I'm like, so you're Madam Web, huh?
I am Madam Web.
No, Manicorn's Madam Web. More like Mana Web.
Mana Web.
Madam
Corn.
Madam Corn. Madam Corn.
Like, the way she acts in the movie, like, the lines that she says are things that I would say in her, like... I also hate
energy
people.
as
I hate dealing with anything. I don't want to go places. I don't want to go to your reunion. Like, I don't want to do that.
The crazy old cat lady and Catwoman also kind of had your energy, reluctant to your agreeal.
I disagree with that very strongly. Although she was into tarot at the end, which is something that I'm also into.
Only at the end, not the rest of the movie.
Yeah, she just picked it up right there. She was like, "Ooh, what are these cards? Oh."
All right. So I heard our audience really likes Gargoyles. This show Gargoyles.
Should we introduce ourselves before we get into it?
I'm Manicorn.
I'm Hiran.
And I'm Sid.
And this is the Loincloth Hour.
A podcast where we talked about cartoon characters and gayness.
And
we talk a lot about
women in tight suits.
And
apparently, like, yeah.
Catwoman. It's your fault for showing me Catwoman, Sid. Like, you are to blame for this.
Okay, sure, yes. It kind of is all my fault at the end of the day, but I'm over that shit now. I mean, you know. So Upgrade is episode 18 of season 2 of Gargoyles. We last left off with Double Jeopardy. We'll get into a little bit of that as we begin. But first, before we really proceed into this kind of mess I've entangled us in, would you gentlemen, do you have like your word counts memorized for your notes?
2,638 characters. I don't have word count.
2,638 characters. That's characters, which means you have like less than 2,000 words.
I have probably like 400 words.
Oh my fucking gosh!
When that, I feel like that's sort of like the average because you don't take a lot of notes usually.
I mean, no, that's true. That's true.
And I have about 2,000.
Okay, so let me just. And
I know that Sid has a few.
I have a few. Okay, last I checked, I had over 11,000 words.
A brief 11,000.
A brief 11,000 words because I got some shit to say about this episode. I read into a lot a lot.
There's probably a lot of
This is one of the
psychological...
gayest things I've ever seen, and I had a lot of things to say about how gay it is.
Mm-hmm.
I had a thing or two.
And before we go on, this is sort of an unusual episode for us because it has so much to say. We decided to only cover the first half of Upgrade. This is Upgrade Part 1.
Yes.
And next time we come around, we'll do Upgrade Part 2, where we cover what, happens at the end.
In my opinion, I think the second half of Upgrade, I should have less of a word count, less of a Bible I've written.
But I feel like there'll be more, wolf panty shots, in the second half. So, maybe you'll have...
Well, yes, I'll have plenty of that, especially the tube scene, but we're not even there yet.
Okay, I forgot that this episode was the one with the tube scene in it, so, I'm really looking forward to getting to that part.
Let's see, Wolf only appears in 5 fucking episodes, and this is the episode where he actually kind of becomes an individualized character rather than an aesthetic backdrop for the pack. Because before then, all we knew about him was he's like the strong man of the pack. Yeah, I think we get a lot more interpersonal with the pack in general.
Yeah, because they start to really bicker in this episode, and
the first half focuses on them. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So I'll just get into it. From the very beginning arc of Awakening moving forward with the franchise of Gargoyles, I think we can all agree on one thing. One of the key components of what makes Gargoyles so awesome is the changes we see unfolding through the characters in this world. Motivations, personalities, transformations, and of course upgrades.
Absolutely.
Or are they truly upgrades from our perspective? Or, take for example some stuff I rounded up reading up about a few psychologists' take on the matter, Maxwell Waltz and all that shit. Just documenting all these psychological studies and cases in which people pursue plastic surgery for what they think will improve their lifestyle, but afterwards find themselves not actually seeing that anything is truly different or changed about themselves for the better that they like. To see an outside change or a physical upgrade is one thing, and the repercussions of getting physical upgrades, even when you are willing to, is that you will have an extreme psychological reaction to them either way. Whether it's out of disgust, perceived as a side effect, or an inconvenience, or out of excitement. Well, when it comes to excitement, we perceive it as an upgrade. However, what you do with yourself on the outside does not necessarily cure anything that's going on with you on the inside. It's like, oh, I want bigger tits because I want to feel good about my body. Oh, I have bigger tits now. Why do I still not feel good about myself? That kind of shit.
Yeah, it's only the surface level that you're able to change.
Yeah,
with that sort of operation.
In practice, accelerating an already pretty unstable mindset can make unresolved psychological issues much worse in the long run. Upgrade to me is a pivotal episode. Like I said, it's when characters such as Wolf suddenly stops being a backdrop as the pack's circus strongman aesthetic and develops more texture. More pecs, yes. Well, that too, but more texture. I'd almost say it's a turning point where his arc as an actual character in the Gargoyles universe truly begins. We begin to see the decontextualized issues he has with himself as a person. His character turns into this sort of mysterious paper trail of psychological masculinity. Going into Upgrade with the context that Wolf is gay kind of brings a whole new perspective on the character. I think a lot of audiences back in the day never really picked up on, another villain who's obsessed with Goliath, go figure. But I think just the blatancy of Wolf's fixation on Goliath, his obsession, what has Goliath actually done to Wolf except be a bigger guy?
He hasn't really done anything. No. He just flies around.
He stops Wolf from doing things people tell Wolf to do, and Wolf goes, grrr, I want to hate fuck Goliath. But I don't want to say that out loud, so I'm just gonna act real crazy.
Cover it up. It's like that scene from that movie, in the elevator, where the one guy is like, I've thought about doing this to you for a long time, and the other guy is like, I haven't thought about you at all. That's Goliath.
Yeah,
he's like, I don't think about you, Wolf. Sorry.
The true tragedy is that both Wolf and Goliath are bottoms, and they really can't. Wolf needs the dick to undo all his crazy. But unfortunately, Goliath may or may not have that kind of... there are a lot of theories that Goliath doesn't canonically have the biggest dick, even though...
Whoa.
I've seen Smag's art.
Everyone has their own theory on dick sizes. Absolutely.
Yes.
And, I think Goliath... I do think he has the capacity to be a service top, but I feel like he only does that with, like, Elisa, Demona. Like, he has to be femdomed into it. With men, he doesn't really want to do that.
Wolf is trying to be a femdom, but, like, he really just needs dick. He needs bad.
Dick. He needs dick.
Like, literally, it's Goliath's size, too, that kind of fascinates him. And you'll notice that in Wolf's transition, that'll emulate. But we'll cross that bridge when we get there. I digress. Let's just go ahead and begin our adventure into Gargoyles Season 2, Episode 18, Upgrade. At least the first 10 minutes and 50 seconds of Upgrade, because let's be real, there's so much for me to talk about that I kind of felt it'd just be easier to make us a two-parter. Definitely went a little information overboard for my notes, but god damn it, we're here now. I don't give a fuck.
We're here.
Here we are, let's go.
Let's get into it.
Yes.
Previously on Gargoyles.
So Broadway is delivering the previously on this time around. Like, why though? I don't know. I guess he had to do it at some point. It was his turn.
It just seems sort of random most of the time.
I think it's because Broadway had nothing to voice acting, nothing to do, so they gave it to him to record.
Oh, good old Bill.
He doesn't have, like, the least to do out of anyone in this episode.
Yeah, I'd say so.
He got to beat the hell out of Jackal, which I did enjoy quite a lot.
So we see the previously on begin with clips from Season 2, Episode 1, Leader of the Pack, where Coyote is introducing himself and to the pack and breaking Fox and Hyena out of prison. Fox, of course, we see rejecting Coyote's offer and wanting to serve her time, which unbeknownst to them, she's just chasing Xanatos' millionaire coochie. Sorry, billionaire, whatever, with a B.
She's the cake.
We get more clips of the pack from that episode on the boat, discovering that Coyote / Xanatos, the one that's been directing them, is actually a robot, and then they just bail from the hectic scenario as we last saw them in the series. I think I hear Fox say, but they destroyed it. It's kind of hard to hear over the background music.
That is what she says.
Okay.
And, referring to the robot, and then Xanatos replies, "Robots are nothing, Fox, my dear.
Yep.
True love is so much harder to come by."
See, this quote could apply to Fox and Xanatos' consistent role throughout this episode, but I also think it's applicable for all respective groups that we focus on. True love is so much harder to come by. The trio trying to save their guardians from the pack, and the pack trying to overcome their greatest obstacle presented to them. Themselves, or they think it's the Gargoyles, but it's really themselves. I'd like to deflect back on Wolf's quote from his first episode, Thrill the Hunt, in which he claims he feels unfulfilled with the lack of action in his life, or maybe a special guy in his life, who knows. In a way, these are all characters looking for what they would perceive as, like, their form of true love, and I think that's a brilliant quote to send off the previously on segment. But
there's a lot of love. Like, surprisingly, there's a lot of love in this episode. There's Wolf and Goliath, of course. There's Hyena and Coyote.
Dingo with Wolf.
Their breakup. Like, there's some romance.
This is kind of a breakup episode too. There's a lot going on here. Like, we focus on so many fucking characters. And
yeah, every packed episode, it's packed. With characters in it, because there's so many of them.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, moving forwards, we'll never get all 5 of them in the same episode again.
And that is
so
true.
Sad. That's so sad. But it's also maybe it's for the best.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah, for certain parties. Yeah. So, and then the episode really begins. City Horizon title drop. Upgrade.
Bum, bum.
We get this sinister descending orchestral note as we zoom down to the bank with the pack's helipad on top. Sort of similar how in, like, Double Jeopardy, a lot of the soundtrack pertains to, like, the whole evil genius persona Thalog was building up for himself. This descending orchestral note in the soundtrack kind of sounds perfect for this episode because it's foreshadowing how we're about to descend into more of the pack's madness.
That's true. We're descending into, like, their mindset, their subconsciousness.
Yes. And already as we zoom in on the bank's empty inside with these tables and these broad orange walls leading to the safe, we get that sort of technological woofering in the soundtrack that also follows us in the episode, especially during some rather cybernetic focal scenes. So First off, no clue where the bomb came from. Like, I'm assuming Coyote gave it to them, but it counts down with no one in sight and just blows up the safe.
All we see is a bomb.
It wouldn't be Coyote because they haven't met Coyote again yet.
So
yeah, I think any of the pack could probably make a bomb. Like, I mean, we know that Dingo has fought in wars.
That's
instance.
true.
Like, he
Central American wars. Yes,
he knows how to source that sort of stuff.
That is true.
Like, he probably has mercenary contacts. And like the twins are crazy. They probably just know how to make a bomb.
Yeah,
crazy people.
Yeah, but it didn't look like a bomb they would make. It looked like one you would purchase.
That is true. Yeah. So let's say Dingo got it for them.
Yeah, that
Good
makes
old
sense
Dingo.
to me. So what is the first...
only responsible member of the pack?
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, that is true. So what is, like, the first thing we see after the bomb explodes?
Wolf's ass. Runs in from the side.
The first on-screen character, the first thing we fucking see.
It's just his butt.
It's just Wolf running onto the scene, flaunting his fat ass in full detail, solid Snake style in those tights. Not only is he the first character to appear on screen in this episode, but why do they need to detail his butt so, like, big and, like, blue-like with those tights? It's not fair.
He does have sort of, like, a bulging bottom for, like, a lot of this episode. He's doing his squats.
And his hair is, like, this majestic, bushy tail flowing in the wind as he jogs over to what's left of the now exploded, demolished safe, and he screams real loud, "Let's move!" And then tries to rip what's left of the safe off the wall. Lets out like a hefty grunt while still flaunting his ass.
This part made me laugh a lot already because it looks like there's a hole blown in the door that they can just go through. But instead of doing that, he like has to like shove the whole door like onto its side.
He doesn't need to do that.
And I'm like, Wolf, you don't need to do that.
He's so extra. Wants to show off how strong and manly he is.
He's gotta be the strong guy.
Yeah, and then I just continue in my notes. No need for the ass being so good, and the nonchalant show off of strength. Masculine diva made for the gays, and I even included little frames of that.
Yeah.
Hashtag masculine diva.
Literally, though. So the pack enters the vault where the safe door was. You know, his mouth is kind of hanging open, but the only thing I can really tell is that his coochie looks like extremely fucking tight in those pants. I can't get over it.
He is wearing some tight pants, and speaking of tight pants, Dingo, his pants, I think, are tighter in this episode than they've ever been before.
Well, what do you think Wolf and Dingo have been doing, like, this entire time up before this point? Can we talk about that?
What do you think they've been doing?
I think they've been, like, fucking, bro.
They've been fucking?
I don't know, man.
69ing each other?
Okay, so, like, obviously, Fox is kind of Dingo's dommy mom, and he's got, like, a huge thing.
She's not around anymore.
And she's not around, so he needs, like, a long-haired, big, domineering presence to tell him what to do, and Wolf is a fucking moron, but he
gets off on dominating other
and
men.
you know, that would probably make sense if they were fucking beforehand, because like that if like I think Wolf is a bottom who thinks he's a top.
Yeah.
So, like, if he's topping Dingo, he's going to get this misdirected sense of pride.
Yeah, because he feels like the big man.
Yeah, he's like, I just nutted in some fat Australian ass, and I'm ready to go fuck shit up, man.
And that enforces the hierarchy in his mind, the toxic masculinity hierarchy. Because he's the top, that means he's, like, the boss.
Yeah, so
and that Dingo is below him.
This is why he's the leader, decided he's the leader.
Yeah, because he's fucking one guy on the team. So
yeah, pretty much.
The leader.
Meanwhile, Hyena has fucked everyone on the team other than him.
She has topped everyone.
That was Fox who did that.
Was that Fox?
I believe
Hyena's
so.
also fucked everyone.
Probably.
Yeah.
Hyena's definitely fucked everyone but Wolf.
Oh, yeah, no.
Like, she's definitely topped Jackal and Dingo. That's definitely happened.
Yeah.
I don't know if she's topped Fox, but, you know.
No.
They probably have to
No one could
for
top Fox. Not even Xanatos. So, yeah.
I just had a thought. So, do you think that Wolf would be into, like, armpit stuff? Because I feel like Dingo would be. I feel like Dingo would be a pit sniffer, and Wolf would enjoy that.
Okay.
Do you think? What do you think about that?
Yes.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, no.
Okay.
Wolf's armpit is Dingo's vape.
I feel like it's really stinky because he doesn't like take baths very often.
Well, he's a big stinky guy, that wolf. You know, he's sweaty and it just exudes testosterone with like every crevice of his
Do you think
body.
that got worse or better after he became like a literal wolf man?
What did?
The pit stench.
Worse.
Okay, cool.
Okay, I'm glad we got that
Cool.
out. So Jackal rushes in with Hyena and Dingo behind him, just guffawing and saying, "I'd like to make a withdrawal."
Okay, Jackal has so many like corny lines in this episode.
He's a fucking dork.
Like he's decided that he's like the comedian of the group. He's become.
Isn't he
the
voiced by
Joker.
Jeff Bennett?
Is he?
I don't know, but if he was, it would make sense because Jeff Bennett usually voices the corny characters
Nice.
in this show.
And then Dingo has a very interesting line. where
Yes.
He says, "So we finally sunk to Robin Banks."
Which it's like, sweetie, what are you still doing here?
Exactly. Like it's clear, like just from that line, this is good storytelling. That like he is like on a different path than the rest of them now. Like he has sort of realized what this all is, and he is no longer interested in it. So like even before the breakup with Wolf, like he's already on that journey. Like here, he's like I gotta get out of this. Like this is starting to be nuts.
Yeah, like they're just kind of running around aimless, directionless, like giant naked babies.
Like Rhino, Spider-Man.
Jackal is voiced by Matt Frewer.
Okay, so disregard.
But he's probably a cornball too.
Yeah, of course.
Regarding Dingo, so in the original script for Leader of the Pack...
Oh, we're going back in time.
Yes. When Greg looked at it, the person who'd done the original story write-up had Dingo betray the pack in that episode.
No shit.
Really?
Yeah.
So after he broke them out of prison, he then
decided that he didn't want anything to do with them. Which Greg was like, this doesn't make sense that he would break them out of prison, and then immediately decided...
Yeah, like, why not just leave them in prison?
Right. So he's like, we should do this as more of a long-term thing. Let's start seeing that up next episode.
Yeah, no, that was a smart choice.
So that's where this came from, because he wanted to make sure they were hitting it as much as possible in this episode, but he did start seeing it in Leader of the Pack, because that's where it started.
Right. Dingo is so hot. Have I mentioned that
I know
lately?
he's your favorite.
He's oh my god.
Anyways, so like Hyena just puts her hand on Jackal's shoulder like he's a pet and responds to Dingo with, "Hey, it's a living."
Like she's quoting the Flintstones at
Are you
him.
fucking kidding me? Is that okay? That's nice. Oh god.
Well, no, the Flintstones. They're quoting something that came before the Flintstones, but I don't remember what it is right now.
Okay,
But they didn't originate that line.
One
but
day.
It's what I associate the line with now.
From there, we cut to the gargoyles.
They're on a group date.
They are on a group date. Goliath, Broadway, Lexington, and Brooklyn all flying in on the scene from the horizon. And Goliath casually says, "It's a quiet night." And Brooklyn responds quickly with, "Guess again. You're not going to believe who crawled out of hiding."
He's been hanging with Demona too much. Like, that's a Demona line. Like, guess again.
Oh,
you
God.
stupid little bitch.
See,
it's
like,
actually this.
If you simp for the Abyss simps back for you. Eyeing the pack helipad on top of the nearby bank is what Brooklyn is doing. They just happen to be flying overhead and just see it. So now they're going down to stop the team for the third time now.
And Lexington has a line in there that he's like, "Oh, I've been
Waiting for another shot at them."
which is like slightly sexual.
The queer gargoyles singling out the fake queers who are actually just queer for being fake queers.
When you become so fake queer that you become real queer.
I mean, that's literally
It's the
pack.
pipeline.
That's literally a... So Goliath instructs the trio, don't lose the element of surprise. They are formidable opponents. And I can't tell if he's legit or feigning sarcasm here, but I'd say he's being cautious for the sake.
No, he's legit. Like, they are dangerous guys, you know? Like, they have...
I mean, he's reminding them because they're such a joke that he has to remind the Warriors every time to actually take them. But
also the trio get like in over their heads sometimes, especially Lexington, because he just sees the rage when he sees the pack.
Right. But I mean, the whole point of the pack up to this point was that they were supposed to be a joke, because the pack we see in this episode is the original pack, where their human selves that we start the series with were created later.
Really?
No kidding.
So originally they wanted...
What?
He had the idea for the pack and was like, hold on, this is too much for season 1. Because season 1's much more grounded and he wants to gradually introduce all of these things rather than throw them all in at once.
So you're telling me Wolf was intended to be a werewolf from the very beginning?
Yes.
That's beautiful.
That's cool.
That's fate.
Yeah, so like... From the time that the original pack episode was written, this episode was like where they were planning to go with it.
That's awesome.
I love finding shit out like that, and like learning like how much was planned like beforehand, and then you very carefully go to that place. Like that's really good.
That's kind of a good way to story write though, because it's like you want to reach a certain point, but like depending on how you get there, you know, things can change and fluctuate. But and
that's why it's so difficult to do long-form storytelling for television. Because, like, an actor may leave, like something may come up, you may not be able to do an episode, like, the money may run out. Like, you never know. So it's so hard to actually plan that
Speaking of issues with the episode...
Oh, God.
You may remember from when we discussed the price, that instead of the price airing, this was supposed to air.
Okay, so this would have been, like, way earlier.
Yes. Yeah, this was supposed to be way earlier in the season. And it had already been pushed back before that. Because the original script for this episode was written around the time the Deadly Force aired.
That was forever ago. That was in season 1.
I know!
What
the fuck?
What?
Yeah, so this episode had some production issues. A good chunk of it had to be reanimated, and they ended up reusing some animation from previous episodes in order to complete it on time.
I didn't notice any of that.
I will bring it up. There's one notable one that he brought up that I am aware of.
Cool.
That's very interesting. That so much, bless you, Thanks. So much like issues with like getting this episode into fruition happen because it's such a pivotal episode, like I said earlier. And
of course, the big problem that caused was they couldn't discuss the fact that who the second in command was in any of the episodes that came after it, because they didn't know when this episode would finally air because it was becoming such an issue. So they had to like have him act like he was the second in command, but they couldn't actually say it in any of those episodes.
When we get to this part in the episode, I was actually surprised, because I thought Brooklyn had already been established as being the leader, but it isn't until this episode.
Right.
But he's sort of been acting as the interim leader.
He's been acting as the interim leader in all those episodes, because those were all made after this episode.
But also, that makes the decision in this episode make more sense, because Brooklyn has been acting as a leader, even if he hasn't officially been that.
Yes, because that's another thing
good.
that Greg mentioned was from the start, Brooklyn was going to be the second in command, so he had been seeding that, even in episodes that were intended to air before this one.
So it feels very natural for that decision to happen.
Yeah.
So, I guess going back onto the story of this episode, after they're, like, pretty much deciding to do the element of surprise to, go after the pack, then we see, like, the pack using a bunch of ropes to climb out of the window skylight to the roof, back to the helipad. And Wolf is, like, urging them the entire time. Like, he's trying to assert dominance as the leader, but he's also nervous himself.
Most of his leadering is just being like, move.
He just, like, shouts orders and doesn't really know what else to do.
No, that's his job as leader, right? It's just to shout at them.
He's not going to be able to do the best job despite the amount of confidence he tries to, display at himself. I like their little butts as they're moving out Dingo and Wolf's.
Yeah, they always look good.
Like their little cat suits sneaking around.
A really funny part comes up when Hyena gets to the roof. She says this line, like, "This'll keep us on top of the most wanted list," and then right as she says that, Lexington's tail just like smacks her in the face.
Sucker punches her.
And she goes like and she like flies across the room. So cool. Like, I laughed a lot.
And then Lexington's next line.
Oh my god, I should have remembered your ATM card, Hyena.
What the fuck? He's probably so proud of himself.
He's so proud and he's so sassy as he says it.
Oh my gosh. He kind of singles out Hyena in this episode. I don't fucking know why.
Yeah, he does. I guess it's because he's the gay one, so he fights the girl in the group. I don't know. I don't know.
Well, I actually know a bit of why.
Yeah.
So we've already established that Wolf and Goliath are now rivals, right?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah,
Or
rivals.
well, sort of. Wolf, sort of. One side
air
rivals.
quotes.
And they they continue to establish in this episode that Bronx, for some reason, hates Jackal. Because Bronx goes and attacks Jackal at every opportunity.
Animals don't like them.
And Coyote's not around yet.
No.
And Dingo isn't going to get a rivalry because he is drifting away from the pack. And that's very purposeful that he's not established with a rival.
Good for him.
So, since Lex has a rivalry with the whole pack, he's the only one... Hyena's the only one who doesn't have a specific rival, so he ends up paired with her a bunch, according to Greg.
Okay, that makes sense in retrospect. That's interesting, though. Because I think I've mentioned it before, that, like, Wolf was literally written as someone who would not be afraid to square up with Goliath. Like, I think that was the intention to having Wolf as a character. So that's very fascinating to me, hearing that. Continuing on this fight scene, though, the next thing that happens is Jackal, like, attacks Lexington for what I assume is saying that line.
Only I say the corny lines in this episode.
Yeah, like, how dare... No one has their way with their sister but me, or some shit like that, I don't know. And he, like, attacks him with a knife.
With a knife.
Like,
Very
the fucking
dangerous.
Sadist. He's literally like, what does he say? He's like, you ever learn not to bother people at work before trying to stab Lexington?
He's such a comedian here. He's gonna try stand-up comedy after this.
It's so funny because I don't think I could ever picture Wolf just pulling out a knife.
No, because he
is bare hands.
Yeah, like a man.
Yeah.
Like weapons are a huge turnoff for him, I feel like.
That's why he likes having claws. Cause
He's such a diva.
But
His
luckily,
nails on fleek.
Broadway swoops by and he clobbers Jackal.
Yes, he does.
Off of Lexington.
Yep. Jackal's head hits, like, the nearby ventilation on the roof.
Okay, it's really weird, because, like, he hits the vent, but then, like, he hits his head, like, into the vent again after it, and I was like, why did you do that?
Oh, I know why this happened.
Is that the recycled animation?
No. So, Greg was talking about it when he was watching it with his kids, because, he did the walkthrough with his kids. So, he has a the copies he's watching are the very first airings. So a lot of the times they have like tons of animation errors that were fixed later. And he's talking specifically about that scene. He's like, I was so pissed when I saw that come back. I really hope it got taken care of.
It didn't get taken care of? Okay.
No, so there was he listed off like 10 or 11 things, but that was the only one on the list that I actually noticed never got fixed.
It looked very awkward, but it's quick though. It's quick.
Yeah, like I mentioned before, this episode had a ton of animation errors in it when it first came back. And even after it got delayed and they fixed it, the first airing still had a bunch in it. This episode was a problem.
It's the nature of the business at times.
Indeed.
But there's some more interesting ones, but I'll mention them when we get to them.
So Dingo takes a few, pot shots at Lexington with, his electric gun, but he
covering
misses.
Fire. He looks gorgeous though as he's shooting this gun. He's posing, his ass is sort of sticking out.
All those hot anime girls with the guns.
Exactly.
It's like Dingo. It's like a supermodel. I think I say that that Dingo looks like a supermodel.
He always does.
Like a porn star. Lexington hops out of the way of Dingo's pot shots
and into Goliath's arms.
He's carried in kiss position by Goliath. By his big, strong, muscled arms around his his claws around his little twink arms.
And then Goliath, tosses him into the air like he's a baby. and then, flies up from there. I thought it was very funny.
They're acrobats.
Just what they're doing.
So Dingo keeps taking shots at them, but Goliath and Lexington just disperse. And then while he's taking shots, Wolf, emerges finally. I like the implication that Wolf weighs the most, therefore he's the last to appear going on the rooftop before the battle's already started.
Mm-hmm. First in, last out is probably he's being the leader.
So, Wolf emerges close behind Dingo's taut buttocks. I wrote that sentence down.
No, it's true though. That is literally what happens.
Yeah.
Where's the lie?
No. There's a lot going on there. Strictly platonic, in the showers.
They're just bros in the showers.
Very, very not gay. Totally.
I mean, we've had this discussion before that Dingo and Wolf shower together, but then like Jacqueline and Hyena shower, like they have their own shower.
Yeah,
anyway.
All the couples get their own. Yeah. So we see Brooklyn nearby grab a pipe jack sticking out of the rooftop and snaps it off with ease so he can like have a weapon. And after that,
what does Wolf say? Does he have a line?
Let me say it. I'm getting there. So Wolf finally gets his bearings, emerging his fat ass from the skylight behind Dingo. He hoarsely whispers to Dingo, "Just save the big one from me."
Just save the big one from me.
It's on the back of like his like little game card from the board game. Like Wolf, like it's his quote on there. Just save the big one for me. Such a character definitive and intense line. There's a lot to dissect here. First off, Dingo's not even doing that great a job, and now Wolf's telling him purposely to avoid the biggest gargoyle because he wants to take him on personally.
Probably.
Second off, it's interesting that while the twins are the ones dealing with the gargoyles head on, he turns to Dingo and says this is the only other built guy on their squad.
Dingo's his boy, yeah.
Like, it's something Dingo should personally take into account for given their own relationship and history. Needless, while we've already gotten a lot of implications that Wolf is gay, this is definitely a huge stepping stone that also ties into the paper trail leading to why he's currently doing what he's doing. It'd be different if Dingo and Wolf were out hunting like buck deer, but no, Wolf is saying this about taking down a big muscular monster man. Dingo and Wolf's body chemistry on top of that. I mean, everything else. Like, Wolf is not only comfortable talking about his hunting preferences, but it's clear as day that Dingo is the one he's become most comfortable being physically with.
Yeah.
At least since Fox's departure.
Yeah, the two of them are very close in this episode.
Yeah, like...
They lean in towards each other when they talk.
In Leader of the Pack, when he had like they like had an accidental kiss, like when Hudson threw Dingo into Wolf, and then Wolf had his hand on Dingo's shoulder when they were getting back up. Like it was actually really sweet.
It's like the masculine like body language.
It's literally because Wolf is mostly resonant to men who are close to his stature. It's really funny.
And Dingo's the closest to that on the team.
Yes.
He's like the other manly guy.
It's just interesting to see Dingo and Wolf share such a pivotal scene together because it is their relationship that makes this episode, I think, a little profound. I mean, Dingo is the last somewhat sane remaining member of the pack, and Wolf is that bridge segueing towards the dark roads ahead for the pack, leading to the twins and himself, allowing for Coyote's manipulation. But yeah, it's just interesting that they're the closest, and Wolf isn't as crazy as the twins. I can't iterate that enough.
No, he isn't. But like that is like their relationship is very much like a human element of the show. Like even if people in real life don't experience werewolf transformations or cyborgs, like that, like a friend or whatever, like falling out because you're going in two different directions, like that's something that like anyone can understand.
Yes.
And like it's brought out, like this episode does a good job portraying that.
Oh yeah, for sure. But I digress. I mean, I just want to get that sweet gay shit out of the way.
Well, there's more gay shit coming up.
There is more gay shit coming up. So Brooklyn swoops in and attacks Dingo.
Oh, why Dingo?
Because he's sexy.
And he like knocks the gun out of
Dingo's
hand.
Buy energy.
And Dingo falls in like full damsel mode. He's
and
like
drops his weapon.
Yeah, like he goes like onto the roof. He's cradling his hand. He
resembles like a playground child who just sprained his knee.
But like just his pants, I can't get over how tight they are. They're real tight.
So like Brooklyn swoops over, and before he can really wreck Dingo shit, is whacked upside the head by Wolf's giant red bag of money he's holding.
Wolf rescues his boyfriend.
Wolf is like, hands off my man.
Yeah, only I get to manhandle that ass.
Yeah, and then like... Brooklyn is barely coming to his senses while we transition to Jackal looking on in surprise as Broadway swoops in and delivers like a war cry, and he like slashes Jackal's chest.
And we see like 3 gashes in his shirt.
Yeah. It's funny, like, okay, like, there is a fandom who likes Jackal. I don't know why.
I have no doubt about that.
Like, it's mostly DeviantArt girls.
A certain subset, I was trying to say, of DeviantArt girls are going to be obsessed with him.
Yes.
Yeah, because he is a Tumblr sexy man.
And E-Tech Ninja, I think, has said that Jackal's is.
And, like, a lot of people just like sadistic characters, and he is that, although I think Hyena
is
much more so,
much more, like, belligerently psychotic. Jackal's like, I'm going to tear your skin off slowly. And Hyena's like, I want to tear your face!
But also, like, a bunch of girls will see that relationship between the two of them and be like, oh, Jackal is the one who's, like, being abused in the relationship. And that makes him, like, a wooby to them. While they also get off on him being a sadist to other people. It's like a double play for him.
He's a soy boy for his sister.
Like, I can totally see why he'd have a fandom.
Yeah.
Yeah, like, not for me, but I get it. I get it. So Jackal somersaults away from Broadway and pulls out like a grappling hook type of pistol.
I don't even know what the hell he shoots at Broadway here. He shoots something at him. He shoots
something at Broadway, and for some reason it delivers like a combustible explosion, knocking Broadway back.
Yeah, but then he just gets up, though. It doesn't seem to really do very much.
Yeah, he weans off the impact of getting hit and just gets angrier while he really wrecks Jackal shit and pounces on him.
He jumps on, and then he just outright, just beats the shit out of him. Just, punching and punching and punching. I'm like, while I watched it, I was like, whoa. He's just out.
Oh my gosh.
I did enjoy it quite a bit.
Yeah, so, and then meanwhile, off to the side, Hyena is watching this shit happen and sees Jackal get thrown into the side of their helipad. And she tries rushing to his side only to face off with a still angry Broadway.
In my notes, I just say Hyena is watching and she shows actual concern for another living human being for the first time in her life.
Yeah.
It does look she actually cares what's happening to Jackal, and I was like, oh, okay, she does have other emotions.
Well, yeah, I don't know. Whatever Jackal and Hyena have going on, it's weird. And there's a lot to explore there that hasn't really been explored, I will say. So she snarls at Broadway like a literal hyena. She ninja runs against the nearby wall.
Parkour!
Only to get sideswiped by Lexington and knocked onto the ground while he kind of holds her in place. I put a lot of question marks during this fight scene.
So did I!
You know, I was just thinking about Jackal and Hyena, and I know this is going back slightly, but
nice.
They remind me of Quicksilver and Scarlet Witch from X-Men Evolution.
From X-Men Evolution.
Specifically.
Yes. Okay, they are very similar. It's like if Wanda was more overtly crazy. Yeah. Because Quicksilver and Jackal are very similar. They're both bratty, bitchy little day bottoms.
Well, keep in mind, the person who came up with the pack, Frank Bauer, is also the showrunner for X-Men Evolution.
I didn't know that. Oh my goodness.
Oh yeah, that's awesome.
I like that quite a bit.
That's
fucked up
explains a lot.
Speaking of your question mark thing, Sid, I do that a lot also in my notes, and I do it in the next part where I say, when Lexington and Hyena are wrestling together, I say it gets sort of sexual as he mounts ? Her from behind.
Is Lexington's gay, right?
He is gay, but he's gay, but he's also questioning. Because he liked getting attention from women before too. He does. I don't know if he fully knows that he's gay yet.
Yeah, well, same with Wolf, but Wolf doesn't, I don't know. Wolf doesn't know women exist.
Lexington knows that he gets boners from men, but he thinks that, maybe someday, eventually, he'll also get boners from women. Because that was, sort of
And,
Hyena
and Lexington are both kind of, the scrappy ones, I guess. So Lexington turns over and sees in the background what looks like Brooklyn assuming the position for Wolf.
He's on his knees.
Like, he literally is, like,
looking...
walking next to Wolf in the background in this one frame, and then the next frame, all of a sudden, like, Brooklyn's just dropping to his knees.
Yeah, like,
and
I don't
Wolf
know
is just standing
why.
there.
And Wolf is just standing behind him, like, hands on his hips, looking...
He looks like Wonder Woman.
Yeah, it like he's about to just unload onto Brooklyn.
Which
like...
is funny, because Brooklyn's not even his type. I know that.
But, I mean, I guess he's the biggest of the gargoyles that he... can see. Oh wait, no, Goliath's there too. I don't know.
Well, anyway,
he just likes to dominate men, and Brooklyn's the closest, nearest available man.
Brooklyn is just walking away from like Wolf 1 second, drops on all fours as if he just got freshly knocked by that sack of money earlier. Anyways, you'll notice, where did that sack of money go?
It's gone.
He probably set it down to beat up Brooklyn, but he never picks it up again.
And they say later on that Dingo's the only one who actually brought his
so
money with
Wolf
him.
doesn't even like get the money, like he doesn't lose the money, doesn't get taken from him. He uses it as a weapon for getting its money and then leaves it behind.
Well, they get distracted. There's a lot going on, you know.
He's stupid.
I'm pretty sure there was supposed to be another scene with Wolf and Brooklyn here, but it got so misanimated that they had to cut it.
Okay, that I would have liked to see what happened.
But because it does just jump between them, and it's I'm pretty sure that's what happened, and that's why we never see what happened to his bag of money. Because in like the original script write-up, it does state what happened to his bag of money. I
would like him to stuff Brooklyn into the bag of money and then like kidnap him.
I'm having a hard time interpreting just what's going on here, other than Brooklyn admitting he wants daddy spankies from a meathead like Wolf.
Yeah.
So Wolf is about to do some kind of like wrestling move or something on Brooklyn. We can call it a wrestling move.
Yeah, wrestling.
Sure. But from behind, before he can do that, Goliath like flies in the background and sneaks up behind Wolf and then scoops Wolf up and lifts him over his own head.
Yeah.
Oh, that gets mirrored later, actually.
Yes, because later Wolf does the same thing to Goliath.
Yes! He's like, I can pick you up now.
And that's definitely intentional.
Look at this frame. It looks like he's... There's a lot going on here.
The hand is very close to the butt.
The eyes are focused right on there.
I mean, yeah, you know. Yeah.
Like, I'm sure Wolf has this thing where it's like every time he gets manhandled by Goliath, he feels like his loins like quaking. He gets afraid of what he's feeling.
He definitely has to jerk off later, like after every fight.
So Goliath tosses Wolf out of the way over by where Dingo still currently is. Wolf's big ass just ragdolls off to the side by Dingo, and while Wolf is coming to his senses, Dingo approaches and just wraps his arm around his shoulders.
Very tenderly.
It's mirroring like when Wolf did that with him in the last time we saw them.
Yes.
So cute. Just more assurance that these two, despite the profession they were in, did care about each other to some extent. Am I implying that they rubbed dicks? Yes.
They did rub
There's
dicks.
like this little operatic choir playing as Dingo trots over and puts his arms around Wolf too. So I mean, you know, it's like, is Dancing Queen by ABBA gonna start fucking playing? I don't know.
It's like the episode does like try to put a special emphasis on them there, and I was like,
I
oh,
feel
that's
like
interesting.
You have to be like really hyper analytical queers like us to even notice this shit though, which is why our presence is so important.
It's okay because we're picking up what the show is putting down, you know.
I mean, we do know at the very least it's very intentional that they're trying to make it clear that Jackal clears about the rest of the pack, except that every time they do that, it's always Wolf.
You meant Dingo?
Or Dingo, yeah.
Yeah, like Dingo doesn't give a fuck about the twins.
No.
Like, he's already just like, don't fucking talk to me. Like, I'll keep talking to Wolf, because, like, I care about him a little bit, but, like, I'm not dealing with those other two.
Yeah, but, like, it seems very clear that by this point that they're implying that, like, the only reason Dingo's staying with the pack is because of Wolf.
Yeah, because it's like the bro code for him.
And, like, based on what Greg said, that's
we
canon.
can call it that.
That's not even, like, us just reading into it. Like, whether or not they're actually, you know, doing things, Dingo is staying with the pack because of Wolf. Like, this is just...
I remember one time someone suggested to me that, like, if Dingo and Wolf were fucking, it'd be hate fucking, considering where the pack was at that point.
No,
I'm
they
like,
liked each other.
but they actually do like each other.
It would be like the only pairing in the pack that wouldn't be hate fucking.
Yeah. So as Wolf comes to his senses, Dingo pulls out one of his shot grenades and shows it to Wolf.
I love this part. He says something like
if we take out Goliath, this fight is ours.
Yeah.
While just flourishing a grenade, and Wolf gets like a demented look on his face as he looks at the grenade.
Like he loves a smile Wolf gives in response. Like Dingo just showed his dick and Wolf liked it.
There's also the first, I think the only time in this episode I noticed at least, but Dingo's mustache disappears while he's showing the grenade.
Every time his mustache disappears, it looks like someone completely different. It doesn't look like the same person.
It's truly cursed every time.
It really is.
But this is the only time I think it happens in this episode.
I know when he originally got it back, he was missing like half of his appearances. He was missing his mustache, and Greg sent them all back to get fixed.
Like why the mustache? Like what about it? The animators,
because they draw the character first, and then they draw all the features.
That's weird.
I don't know.
I don't know because it's like they never forget Wolf's beard.
Yeah, like something got mixed up somewhere with Dingo. I don't know.
Someone had a reference sheet of him without a mustache, and that's what they were using for all the time.
Oh my god.
Maybe originally he didn't have a mustache. Maybe his design changed.
Yeah, I don't know.
Homophobic. Wolf turns to Dingo, gives like a real sinister smile. Usually the only time he ever smiles normally involving Goliath, and then he says, "Now you're talking."
Their body language is very close.
Can't get over that. I can't express it enough. And the whole time Dingo's arm is still on Wolf's shoulder. Like, he doesn't need to do that, but chooses to anyway, so...
I think he might know that the way to convince Wolf to do things is to, like, sort of, like, have that masculine, like, closeness between them. Like, this is his way of convincing.
Come on, babe, I'll suck your dick if you get
I'll
that
suck
shit
you
done.
later, but you gotta beat Goliath for me. which I know you already want to do. So, like, it's not a hard sell.
It's really not. So Dingo tosses the grenade at Goliath's back, and it goes off, just like zapping him and giving him like the electrosexual shock treatment.
Which Brooklyn is like right there for this. So he sees it happen right in front of him. He probably jerks off to it. Like
literally in my notes.
Just
Brooklyn wishes that it hit him instead.
And Goliath is just electrocuted to unconsciousness, which is not the first time he's going to be knocked out in this episode.
Yeah,
but yeah, like just Brooklyn. That's just he's right there to see it all happen.
Yeah, no, like, the entire trio's there, but Brooklyn's the closest to him at the moment.
Goliath he's left on the roof, literally steaming.
Getting his titties zapped, and then falling to his knees before falling forward onto his face.
Oh yeah, he always has to fall to his knees first.
And I just, like...
every time.
I just, like, put, like, kinda hot, not gonna lie.
It is hot.
Brooklyn exclaims Goliath and rushes to his side while he's lying on the rooftop weakened. So as the trio rushes to Goliath's aid, Dingo has Jackal hauled over his shoulder.
Yeah, and he has the money, too.
And he has the one bag of money that they didn't lose.
So, like, he's doing his job. He's doing great.
So he's doing that while Hyena and Wolf rush back to the PAX helipad. And then, like, fucking... I love Wolf's Wolf's, like, dainty little run here. He's got, like, he looks like he's prancing through a meadow.
But then he has to do a mask for mask.
Yeah, in the middle of his little diva run away, though, he turns back at the gargoyles and growls, "This isn't over!"
Okay. Can we talk about that?
Yes.
Does anyone else know why I'm yelling? Can we talk about this?
No.
Do you know who else says this isn't over? Screaming it at the gargoyles as he runs away.
No.
Hakon.
Oh, shit!
It's genetic.
The foreshadowing. Oh my god.
Because Wolf's initial thing was being Hakon's descendant. That was why they decided to make Wolf.
Yes.
They knew that before anything else about him.
About him.
Yes.
But that was where the idea of Wolf came from. Was they wanted to Hakon was an interesting character and they wanted to do more with him.
Was he?
No, Wolf is way more interesting than Hakon.
Okay,
that's so funny that they did that. They're seeding so many things.
So yes, from his first appearance, he was supposed to be Hakon, which I did not know until I was reading about this episode.
That's so funny.
That yes, Wolf was designed to be Hakon's.
That's so funny.
It explains his overall look.
Yeah,
it does. It's very fascinating that they have a character because it's like. I think that in terms of mannerisms, Wolf, is similar, but also different.
Yeah.
Like...
They're not clones.
It's like... Well, yeah, I know that, but it's so fascinating that a character as flamboyant masculine,
as showy,
like,
as showboaty.
As showboaty and flamboyant as Wolf would be descended from someone as just like, I mean, like, it makes sense in retrospect, like, because, like, what does homophobia end up, like, rooting out in the long run? More queers.
More queers. And it's also funny, they're both, like, internalized homophobic gay men.
Kinda, yeah.
Because Hayton was fucking captain of the guard.
Supposedly.
Not supposed... For real.
Sure.
100%. For my notes, I just wrote that Wolf streams This Isn't Over like he's a cartoon villain. And then I had to put, I guess technically he is a cartoon villain. So...
Well, he's specifically screaming like a specific cartoon villain.
You can see his, like, butt crack as he's entering the helipad.
Yeah, he has a little
like,
cheek action there.
Like, you know, just, like, angrily claps cheeks at you. Wolf does, like, a gay little runaway, and then the helipad launches and takes off from the roof.
So Lexington wants to keep chasing after the pack.
We can't just let them get away.
But Brooklyn, like, he puts his big boy pants on. He's like, helping Goliath is more important.
And already foreshadowing the role he's going to be playing in this episode.
Because he's right, you know?
Yeah,
like,
he is right.
Yeah, he's not letting emotions ride his decisions.
As the trio straddles Goliath by the titties on the rooftop, making sure he's okay.
They do that.
They do that, yeah. We segue back to the pack's helipad taking off and soaring through the night sky. And we actually focus on the pack.
Yeah.
Having freshly escaped the gargoyles again. And in the helipad, Wolf is just muttering aloud, should have stayed and finished them off.
Sexual.
So frustrated, this man. You know, and it contrasts with what we just saw because he not only did not stay and do just that, if he really felt strongly about this decision to stay and finish the gargoyles off, but also ran too because the rest of his team was running, ergo Wolf cannot function without a pack.
Yeah, because he's a wolf.
Another piece of proof that he does not make a good leader, and as he cares more about how he's perceived by others around him and against him than what is actually important for the group as a whole.
Yeah, and also him following the group kind of paints him like as a follower too, not as a leader.
Yeah, no, that's, yeah. All of Wolf's input and dialogue are displayed to us, the viewers. The pack in its current state of things is a lost and directionless unit without Fox or Coyote's manipulative guidance. Mm-hmm. None of these unhinged individuals are cut out to be leaders, let alone lead a successful criminal operation. Robbing the bank, Dingo saw as petty, but without direction, what the hell else are they going to do? As a matter of fact, that's probably exactly how Wolf pitched the idea to the rest of the pack. Let's just rob a bank, because what the hell else are we gonna do?
Yeah, it's like, we gotta do something. And they were like, okay.
I think that Wolf wants to take every possible opportunity to show off how tough he is, and this line suggesting that they made the wrong choice by fleeing is another instance of falsified bravado on Wolf's end rather than an acceptance of reality. He's wishing he could have been tougher than he was in the actual situation, and already displays these intense signs of insecurity we're going to continue to see. And then Hyena responds...
Yeah, she sort of feeds on that insecurity. She
like normal.
Amplifies it. Yes, because she's such a bitch.
I just want to say this now. I know, like, we love talking about the pack and the twins, but I also kind of hate them because they like everyone else around Wolf, feed off of his insecurities.
They
and
really
tease him.
are the worst people.
They tease him. They're like, oh, what? You're worried about being gay, you big homo?
Sounds like he needs a haircut.
Literally only said that because I'm sure Wolf likes having long hair, and there's context that you'll learn in the comics that it's like, okay, maybe that's why.
Oh.
Of course, Hyena's really just pissed off because of the directionlessness and because she hates everything in general.
But she tells him something like their would-be leader or something. Just like
Wolf's just
calling him
insecure about everything and is such an easy target, per usual.
Oh yeah, and then she says something like Dingo's the only one who got away with the money. Dingo, by the way, is just piloting the ship, like not really talking to anybody.
I don't blame him.
Like he is the only responsible member of the team. Like he's sort of doing like what needs to be done, that the rest of them are too like egotistical, like to do themselves. Like he's just in the background, making sure that their operations actually succeed, like in any way. Dingo's sort of the best.
Yeah. So yeah, Hyena kind of flaunts to him how Dingo is really the only one who is able to get away with the money. And while Hyena is saying this, Wolf is just stoic. Oh, wait. So she's cradling Jackal.
Okay, I was about to say, like she's holding her brother like in her lap. And I'm like, I guess that's to help him recover, but I don't know how that's helping.
It's like he's her pet. It's really creepy.
I just say it looks sort of weird in my nose.
He's got no shirt on.
Yeah, like they've wrapped like bandages around him. In much the same way that the live will be wrapped in the next scene, I believe.
The whole time that they're canoodling, Hyena's like fucking jeering at Wolf. Wolf is just stoic walking towards her like he's about to like just fucking... I don't even know. He's gonna have another diva meltdown.
Gonna be some sort of confrontation.
He's just gonna have another temper tantrum, and it'll probably end with him crying or something.
He'll start like stomping around, like I'm a big boy.
Yeah, literally. It's like, okay, so I just described that like as he's approaching her, his crotch looks like it's screaming for help.
What do you screaming for help? How?
Like it's trapped.
Like it needs to be released.
Yeah. Like, his pants are so tight it's not even funny. Literally wearing fur shoulder bracers, displaying his biceps. So gay and desperate for attention, it's not even funny.
I like that even after Fox left, they still all dress the way that she dressed them.
Yeah, like what else? It's just like she just dance puppets dance.
Like her influence remains.
Like the way he struts over too. It's like, motherfucker, you're so extra. You were meant for the catwalk and not this lifestyle.
Oh, he looked great as a runway model.
I'm just saying, like, he's only doing this shit because it's all he knows.
I know, like, if someone could just show him an alternative in the world of high fashion.
Oh
my god.
The villain from Catwoman.
Can you imagine, like, his face on those billboards, though?
Yes!
And, like the one of him lifting his arm, and then she sniffs it in the very beginning. Anyway.
So, like,
I'm really into Wolf's armpit for some reason today. I don't know why.
There's a lot going on under those. So Wolf's about to shake his fist at Hyena and bitch right back about the situation because he's so not in the mood right now. But before he can do that, the sound of the hangar door opening, I think.
Well, I think something like clangs against
something's knocking on the door
or something. Yeah.
And so like it makes like Wolf do this like double take backwards. Like what the fuck was that? And we get these amazing shots of his back and butt and his ponytail flowing behind him. Making it look like he's got a tail.
He has to serve, like, no matter what's going on.
Pretty much. He's fabulous. Jackal lets out a grunt sarcastically asking if, like, anyone's expecting any visitors.
He thinks he's a comedian. Every line he has in this episode is like telling a little joke.
All while being cradled in his sister's bosom.
We don't need to talk about that anymore.
Wolf then pulls out like a little
tiny little gun.
The tiniest little fucking gun. There's this scene from Pineapple Express where the guy is like going through his guns that he has stashed in his house. And he pulls out this really tiny one. He's like, "Oh, I used to use this gun when I was a prostitute."
It's like, yeah, but it's like the type of gun that like you would be like strapped against someone's thigh, like a
he thinks he's like a bad girl. Like
I'm Charlie's Angel.
He thinks, I put that in my notes. He thinks he's like a Charlie's Angel. It's like the tiniest little gun I ever saw. And has Wolf fired a gun once in the series?
But I guess he has one in case he needs it.
His mama told him to keep it safe when the boys get all rough on him. Anyways, I thought it was like a little grappling gun, but it looks like just a standard pistol.
No, I think it's like one of their little laser guns.
Like Wolf probably used to use it when he was a prostitute.
Yeah, probably.
He pushes the button like a genuine Charlie's Angel or Bond girl. He points the gun at the door. And
they open the ship's door though, like while the ship is flying. Like,
I guess I didn't think about that.
Wouldn't that, like, nothing happens. Like, it's fine, but I guess they're not flying that fast.
I guess maybe they're just kind of, like, hovering. Like,
but I was expecting, like, a lot of wind, like, someone to get sucked out of the ship. Like, I don't know what was... he just opens the door without any worry at all.
I mean... no one's gonna get sucked out. They're not at a huge pressure differential.
I guess it's fine. Yeah,
it wouldn't be a pressurized cabin if they're just like
they're just like over the street somewhere.
Yeah. Something like that.
I mean, there would be some wind, but that would be about it.
There's not even really any wind.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
outside the door is the creepy robot Xanatos, just the head,
Yeah.
flying on like a drone or something.
Yeah.
It's just hovering
It
outside.
reminds me of Xavier's chair. I don't know why.
Xanatos and Xavier, there's a lot of similarities.
Yes, there are. Both manipulative and like egotistical.
And he just asks like, "May I come in?"
Yeah,
Like,
Wolf's face fucking drops as soon as he sees that shit. Did you notice that? Like, he's just...
'cause, I mean, you know that you don't expect a flying robot
No one
to
expects
be nothing while you're
like,
flying
he's
somewhere.
all tough, like, 1 second, and then the next second, it's just like, what? Oh, God.
He's so startled.
He is. He's a scared girl.
Okay. The next scene is one that I really, really like.
Yeah, so... Oh, gosh, yeah.
Do we have more to say about this one?
All I said about Coyote's head was, like, this motherfucker, like, rolling up like it's Britney, bitch, or more like, I'm here to make your mental illnesses significantly worse.
Yeah, he does do those things.
Living proof AI can only make things worse. So, I'll let you go into this next scene.
Okay,
then.
well, so at the clock tower, we see the Jar-Dolls, and Hudson is mothering Goliath very sweetly, while the trio is just standing like 2 feet away and just watching from what it looks like. So Hudson and Goliath, they're having a little conversation. Hudson's like, like next time you get hurt in combat, like it may not be just an injury, like, it may be the end for you. So it's time for you to pick a second in command. But he's saying all this while he's like fondling Goliath's chest. He's just like,
How many times has, like,
feeling
Hudson
him.
fucked Goliath?
a lot of times. So in response to this, Goliath then holds Hudson's hand. There's hand holding here, and says, "Well, in that case, I choose you to be my second in command," which is very sweet.
It's sweet.
It's very nice, but Hudson is like, "No, sweetie. For one thing, like, I'm a sub these days. I only do sub things."
Like he's like semi-retired.
Yes. Like all jokes aside, like he says he doesn't want to go backwards, which is a theme of the show in general. And he says, besides, there's these 3 young hunks right here who can take the job instead. And then the trio, they all straighten up like they're little soldier boys, and they're like, "Pick us, Goliath. Pick me."
Putting his hand on Lexington's shoulder, all protective, like the big brother he is.
But I just thought Hudson and Goliath, like, there's a lot of, just like with Dingo and Wolf, there's a lot of body language here. There's a lot of hands on bodies. There's hand holding.
So then,
there's
like,
chest squeezing.
there's a lot going on there.
It's very, very nice, very romantic.
Yeah, so, like, Hudson's, like, iterating to him. He's like, "And choose you must," like, putting the heat on Goliath, like, "Hey, man, don't pass the buck to Don't pass the buck to my old ass. Just choose the next generation to lead the roost." Their asses are, like, more, like, they're ready to get,
Just like any other decision that Goliath doesn't want to make, such as when Elisa kept hounding him to move them off the fucking castle, he doesn't make this decision for a fucking month after this. He keeps putting it off. He's like, it's sometimes being a leader, it's not the most fun. You have to make hard decisions, and it's tough. I get it. It's tough.
Okay, so we're all set with that.
Yeah,
scene.
that's that scene. It's a quick one.
It is a quick one. And then we crossfade to the sunrise over the NYC shore. We pan down to the ocean, see little eels pass by, which I think might be an allusion to, like, I think they use, like, electric eels for the mutates.
Oh, see, I was thinking, like, Ursula's eels from Little Mermaid.
Well, yeah, but I think, like, in some of the synopsis, especially for, like, Fang's electric powers later in the series, like, they said they used electric eels for that.
And, we're even going to see footage of Talon in a little bit.
I feel like it should have been footage of Fang. But that's just me.
Well, I mean,
we didn't know. Fang wasn't as fleshed out.
Yeah, Talon's a better known one at this point.
Yeah, I suppose so.
Did we know that their airship thing could also go underwater? By the way, was that a surprise
actually, yes,
to
because in Leader of the Pack, I think it emerges out of the water.
Oh, okay. That can go land, sea, air. It's like a duck.
That thing's like
it can do anything.
What happened?
Sorry, I just caused him psychic damage because I like to talk about ducks to him sometimes.
I don't understand.
And how dangerous they are. But the airship... My point is the airship is like a duck in that it can go on the land, sea, or air. That's all I'm saying.
So,
they're like the perfect animal. They're like God's most lethal killer.
In their little submarine
because they can
base,
go anywhere.
Their aqua base. We overhear a very grumpy jackal just hissing out at Cody. What kind of scrap heap did you crawl out of?
Is this part where Hyena's like holding his hands? I wrote that down, but I don't remember that happening.
I think that's like I don't think
that happening.
I
right
think
now?
Actually, in retrospect, I'd said Jackal was shirtless before, but I think in this scene he's shirtless. It's kind of like
I think he was shirtless in both scenes. I don't know. He's definitely shirtless here because that is in my notes.
because I just want to see all his fucking nasty twunk muscles.
No.
It's so gross. Like, why is Jackal the shirtless one now? All of a sudden, with all those bandages from Broadway's roughhousing, it's like 10 or 20 steps backwards from seeing Wolf shirtless during the Pac's last appearance.
No, Jackal's
I guess it's
taken
because
over as the
Jackal
fan
looks
service.
like Tony Dracon, and they all both have to have like a Jeff Goldblum sequence where they're just shirtless for no fucking reason.
Okay, we know that Jackal has a small fan base. Do you think
Yes.
Tony also has that?
Probably. Not as big. I think I know Tech Ninja's
I
obsessed
think you
with
have to be,
Dracon
like,
and
really
Jackal.
fucked up to imprint on Tony as opposed to Jackal. I feel like Jackal's a little bit easier.
Yeah.
For those weird DeviantArt chicks.
I don't like him. And then Hyena's like, claws inward, brother. Let's hear what old Coyote has to say.
Claws inward.
So weird.
It's like an insane sentence to say.
Yeah, they're kind of freaky. She's just saying that because she wants to fuck him.
Well, yes, she does.
Both
Well, now that he's like weak and helpless, like she'll
I was talking about Coyote, but I mean...
I don't know if does she want to fuck Coyote yet?
Oh, yes!
She wanted to fuck him in the last episode.
Did she?
Yes!
She was like a robot. Ooh.
Okay, but right now he's like just ahead. It's like, does she want to fuck?
Yeah.
Yes!
Yeah.
Literally.
Yeah, okay,
Literally,
yeah.
Listen,
Greg has confirmed this.
I like
Okay,
that.
good.
Each member of the pack has their own brand of freakiness.
I love that Hyena wants to fuck robots. I think that's like the best thing about her character.
So, meanwhile, like, Wolf and Dingo are just standing over the table, like, they're both just kind of looking down, interrogating this fucking disembodied robot
He's
head.
just a head on the table.
Wolf's got his arms all crossed and everything while looking down at it, all like, so this is what it's come to in life.
What's that fucking movie with the head in it? The Ice Pirates?
Oh yeah!
Scene.
Oh my fucking god, the Ice Pirates. We need to rewatch that movie.
Oh my god.
But there's a scene in that film where they cut somebody's head off, but like the head
They
is
don't
is
even
still
cut
alive.
his head off.
Okay.
They just kind of knock it off.
Yeah, they just knocked it off.
nonchalantly.
But then like they imply that like one of the guys is gonna like fuck the head. And,
Yeah,
like...
he just carries him to the other room. He's like, oh, I always wanted to get head.
Anyway, I just thought of that scene during this scene of Gargoyles for some reason.
And then Dingo's just daintily walking over to the table as well. And then Coyote is like, thank you, Hyena. I've merely come to offer my humble assistance with the gargoyles. God, I want to smack him.
So does Wolf.
So does
is,
Wolf.
Like,
Oh my!
fucking done with this
Just
shit.
more evidence I'm a little wolf coded. Wolf just fucking grabs Coyote's head.
He like tears the wires out. as he picks the
yanks
head
it out
up.
of the wiring out of this little arrow platform. And it's just showing off to it like, hope you can swim, Metal Mouth, because we don't need your help. I'm a
Metal
big,
Mouth.
strong, independent businesswoman.
Well, yeah, with the shoulder pads.
With the shoulder pads.
And Coyote's all like, suit yourself, but it's such a shame to see the pack
Like-
beaten by the gargoyles, and there's so many resources at their disposal.
And of course, Hyena's immediately like, why don't we listen to him? Because I think he's hot.
I kind of gush over like Clancy Brown's voicing as Wolf
He
as he
is
says
doing
that.
a really good job.
Well,
in this
he just
episode.
goes so extra when he's voicing Wolf. I don't know why. Like, it just channels through like that. He actually tries to sound like a wolf when he's voicing
Yeah,
Wolf.
like there's like this.
It's not the
growl.
same as when he was voicing Haycon at all.
No, it's definitely his.
It's
Wolf
more,
has his own voice.
It's more freaky
yeah.
and psychosexual and gay.
But he really brings out the animal, like when he says a lot of these, especially when about the save me the big one, or
Save the big one for me,
save
yeah.
the big one
Just save the big one for me.
for me. like every line there's this undercurrent to it. We're like, ooh, he's
so is Coyote's just remarking back as he's manhandled by Wolf, who during this scene has the finest fucking hips I ever did see. Like Wolf's hips definitely do not lie, and for some reason I just put like Hyena's twerking over her brother in the background for some reason.
It's not happening.
So Coyote's preying on Wolf's insecurities with
just
that
like
line.
Hyena does.
Says like, it's a shame to see you beaten by the gargoyles when there's so many resources at your disposal.
So many.
Now, in a single sentence, Coyote went from preying on Wolf's obvious insecurities to creating intrigue and getting him deeper into this little rabbit hole of madness, which is interesting because it's like, it's almost salesman-y. It's very malicious.
He's also able to bounce the members of the pack off each other, because then Dingo comes to his rescue and is like, well,
Dingo steps
we're
in.
Listening.
Then before you know it, it's actually Dingo who steps in and stops Wolf from just spacing Coyote into the ocean. And thinking he's got more sense to let Coyote go, Dingo is the one that walks up and is like, we're listening. Because I think Dingo was just trying to get them some better direction.
Yes.
But
like the group needs a leader, and he doesn't think that Wolf's doing a very good job.
But the thing is, Dingo should have just let Wolf space Coyote.
He really should have, but he didn't know at this point. He didn't know that Coyote would suggest, like, have you considered becoming a furry? Like, have you considered being a fucked up robot person?
Then the next thing you know, Wolf just shoves Coyote's head into Dingo's tits.
Like, into his abs. And like, it's so funny because Wolf's just like so mad. So he's like, here, you want to fuck the robot head? Take it.
You want to negotiate with the head? You want to fuck the head this time? Fine, you take the head. And just smother Coyote's putrid face into Dingo's bee-balls. And we can technically say that Wolf did in fact give Dingo head.
He gave Dingo head.
It's
the same part of him where Dingo was like, flabby as I am, I couldn't last a week in the Central American War.
Yeah, that same area where like Wolf's nose brushes up against when he's giving Dingo head.
Yeah, that place.
Could you just imagine Dingo and Wolf passing Coyote's head around in the bedroom like hot potato?
I honestly can. I can easily imagine that. But after Dingo gets the head, though, did you see this? He starts like bouncing it up and down in his hand, like he has a toy ball. And I was like, why is he doing that?
Why not?
Dingo doesn't like Coyote.
It's funny. So Dingo's just bashfully like, fine, I'll carry the head, then I'll work this out. I'm group mommy now.
Yeah.
Wolf just stares angrily as Dingo walks away with the head like it should have been me, damn it. And also because Wolf is irrevocably fucking Dingo this entire time, so he's kind of at odds with whoever he's getting nookie from.
Yeah, there's a little bit of jealousy at play here.
So Dingo holds Coyote's head at a certain angle next to the nearby monitor, which I guess is also there. Coyote just happily explains some exposition to them while somehow projecting footage onto this monitor.
Okay, I just realized that just now. How is he doing that?
I mean,
do they have Wi-Fi?
Whatever's going on with their helipad, Coyote's like tethered to it, is what I'm assuming.
But he was ripped out.
That doesn't stop you. Listen, fire cannot kill a dragon.
I didn't even notice that. Yeah, footage just starts playing.
Yeah.
So it's like a clip of like Talon in full uniform, you know, like mutated Derek Mazza becoming Talon. Somehow already emerging from his mutation is like Coyote begins his sales spiel. For example, have you ever considered the bounties of genetic engineering? Totally presumably looking at Wolf, who probably wishes he could have inherited better genetics for himself. Poor baby has just begun getting sold the alpha male placebo.
I know.
And then, you know, we see another clip of Coldstone fighting Goliath and says, or maybe cybernetics is more your style.
Where did Xanatos get that footage from?
Fucking knows?
Was he filming from a bush while Goliath and Coldstone were fighting?
Like, you know, and then this is like accompanied by a clip of Xanatos using like the gargoyle power armor or whatever from the Edge, and Coyote's
his
like
gargoyle fursuit.
Coyote's just says, and they say clothes makes the man. The man.
The man.
Oh, you know, let me just, you know, like, there's a quote later in the series. What would a mutate werewolf know about being a man, really?
Yeah, because Dingo has some mean lines later on. But right now, he's like, save the horror show for Halloween. But that armor is sharp. And then Dingo puts the Xanatos head on his knee like he's bouncing a baby. And he just leaves it there for the rest of this conversation. He just has the head, like, balanced on his knee. And it's sort of awkward, and I don't know. I don't know what the body language is here.
Yeah, like, Dingo's just kind of like, hey, I don't want to fuck myself up. The dress stuff is cool.
And, like, honestly, I feel like the armor's the way to go.
Yeah.
Like, I think Dingo might be onto something here.
Yeah.
Well, like usual, he's the only sane member of the pack, so...
I mean, he's still kind of like, he's not perfect himself, but compared to the rest of the pack...
Angel. Okay, also, Jackal has this extremely gay line that he gives, where he says he's tired of taking punishment.
Sure you
but
are,
I'd sure love to give some back.
It's interesting he's saying this as the one who is the most battle damaged after their fight. He's really just acting off of his more pissed off emotional state than making an actual cognitive decision, like, you know, the rest of the pack normally does. Mm-hmm. You know, and Jackal, however, curves his brow at the proposal and is like, what's the catch?
Oh, there is no catch.
Coyote's head, now planted firmly on Dingo's muscular thigh, just responds with, please, it's all the compliments of all the hard-working men and women of Xanatos Enterprises. And I'm just thinking, like, if you, like, work for a corporate enterprise, you know that line is bullshit.
Well, yeah,
the pack being the pack, don't pick up on it.
He just wants to help them out. He's an entrepreneur. He wants to do some free stuff, help them get started with their own independent business.
Yeah.
He's just a nice guy.
So then Wolf responds, he's like, Xanatos. Then he scratches his beard and he's like, figures. Why didn't he come himself to the bottom of the ocean?
Mr. Xanatos is a very busy man.
This also makes me think, because he's like staring at Dingo's thighs to maintain that conversation with Coyote.
They all are. They all have to look there.
So Coyote does this really creepy smile as we crossfade to what looks like Xanatos' office.
That's so funny.
I'll let you guys take the reins.
Okay, well, it's just Xanatos' office, and Xanatos is at his desk, like, and Fox is there, and he just says, and so the game begins, like a gay theater kid would say. And that's all it is. That's that scene.
Yeah, no, it's so funny
Which
seeing
they will
this.
proceed to reuse that footage 2 more times this episode.
Oh, nice.
It's like, it's so funny seeing this, because they're just like, yes, we've already taken unstable, mentally ill individuals and manipulated them further into becoming their worst selves.
Well,
While also being
the start of what we're doing.
While also being unstable, mentally ill individuals themselves. Like, okay, sweeties.
Let's begin the real game now.
Whatever.
And then we get a caption, which says one
month later!
Which I was like, what?
So in the original script, we weren't supposed to time skip 1 month. What?
What were we supposed to do?
We were supposed to have a montage of them getting transformed.
Oh, that would have been so cool!
We could have seen...
God fucking damn it!
It would have been like that scene from X-Men TAS where Sabretooth gets turned into Sabretooth and his clothes all rip off him.
Oh my god! You know how much I would have loved to have seen that shit?
That would have been great.
Yeah, unfortunately, S&P canned most of the scene.
What?
Too disturbing.
Yo!
I need...
What? No!
The footage.
Mostly
Free the footage.
I mean, the footage was never made, but Jackal and Hyena were, their parts in particular.
That would have been fucked up.
Oh god, yeah, no,
show us
obviously.
the storyboard. Like, I want to know. Show us the... whatever there is of this. I need to know
Maybe we'll get
everything.
flashbacks in the comics later that Greg will just show their earlier mutate. I don't know.
Cool.
That's hopeful at best.
But yeah, and then the rest, Greg said what was left over, he actually cut it himself from the original because it was stuff that he didn't want revealed yet. I don't know what the stuff was.
What?
Well,
but there are things he didn't want revealed.
well, you probably want it to be revealed in the fight when they start like being weird and crazy.
Yeah.
What? No, but like if he's cutting stuff from
It's entirely. He implied it was stuff that was cut because he didn't want it revealed in this episode.
Oh, in this episode.
Okay,
Oh.
so that's...
I don't know what it was though because I'm like thinking about it. I'm like, what?
I wonder what if it has anything to do with.
He was
Wolf.
very vague about it. Probably
I mean,
because it's something that's been revealed.
Because I mean,
He's
like,
one of
I
them.
imagine. Does it say anything about Wolf's like equation in this transformation?
Nope, nothing.
That's what he's hiding. God damn it, Greg!
That's what he's hiding.
What? No, he's hiding something there. There's something there.
Show us the wolf cut.
There's something there, man.
I don't know what, but he does imply that there's something he's hiding about the transformation.
Oh my god.
Wolf grew a furry wolf dick, and he has a knot now.
I don't care about Wolf's dick. If you know me well enough, you know I don't care about his dick size.
I mean, it's hotter if he has.
No, there's something there, man. I'm gonna find out, man. God damn.
Like I said, I had a lot of stuff that I needed you to have live reactions for this episode.
That's one of them.
Yeah.
Purposely leaving out information pertaining to Wolf. Okay. Yeah, sure. So there's something
planned.
You guys take the reins on the fucking clock tower scene.
I do have a few things to say about this scene. So we go to the clock tower, and then we see the trio, and they're being little shits about like who the next leader is going to be. Just Goliath has still not made his fucking decision. So Lexington says that speed is the key. Well, then Broadway says that slow and steady wins the race. I just want to say that means that in this metaphor, Lexington is the rabbit. He's the hare.
Oh my god.
Lexington is rabbit coded, and that's just important to me.
Oh my god.
As a Lex fan.
That's
okay.
Yeah, of course it is.
But then Brooklyn says that he's fast and steady, which causes Bronx to like actually be in like physical pain for like having to listen to them.
Yes!
And I didn't think that was really funny.
When you're so cringe, your dog can't stand.
Yeah, it's like it's too much. I'm not sure if they're talking about like their sex performance in this conversation. But anyway, they all just fly away after that. They're going to go on patrol. So then Elisa comes in, and she sees Goliath and Hudson, and she's like, okay, the pack are pinned down in an abandoned building by a SWAT team. And Goliath's like, we must summon the others. And Lisa's like, there's no time. We gotta move right now. So that's just the end.
All the
we
plot
go right to the building
reasons
after that.
Go back to the
we
pack.
just gotta go. So
yeah.
we see this building, and it's surrounded by cops, and at first I was confused because it looks like the cops are shooting explosives in through the windows, which then explode, and the cops like run away. But it turns out they're not intending to make explosions. There's something else is going on here. So the first thing that I have written down is that the Xanatos head is hovering over the scene with like weird UFO music playing.
Yeah, we see like Coyote's head just zooming around, observing onwards as this kind of ominous Twilight Zone styled music plays in the background.
Okay, so in the first animation cut of this, from this point onwards, every scene that's supposed to have the head instead featured the new Coyote robot.
Full robot?
The full robot. They accidentally put the full robot into all of these scenes.
I think they wanted the reveal to be...
God.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, Greg was not happy about that.
No, he wanted the reveal to be creepier because of the way it happens.
So, luckily, that one did get fixed and reanimated, so...
Like, how could people not notice a giant robot flying around? Like,
yeah...
A head I could excuse. Like, it's smaller. But Elisa has some line where she's like, tear gas isn't supposed to explode.
Yes.
And then the head flies by them, and he's like, "You want a gold star, detective?"
Like,
as you may have surmised, that explosion was just for the tourists.
Did we even establish that like the Elisa, Goliath, Hudson, and Bronx are in a construction platform now?
We should probably yes.
Yeah. Okay. So. That's where we are.
I was actually not sure what it was.
I'm skipping all around.
Yeah, so, and this construction site kind of reminds me of the final act in, like, the really bad Spider-Man 3 movie with Venom.
Yeah.
And, that's like what it reminds me of. Goliath exclaims, "What manner of trickery is this?" And then Coyote explains, "As you may have surmised, that explosion was just for the tourists. The real action is right up here. Getting all up in Goliath's face, too."
Okay.
Like, they all try to make a grab for the head, but it like flies away.
So, Goliath tries to grab Coyote's floating head, but it, like, dodges, almost kind of messing with him. It continues to, like, soar around them, teasing, as Hudson tries to, like, shank it with his sword, but also misses because it's, like, just too swift. Bronx is also growling at it the whole time. It hovers away into like a cloud of smoke as the four look onward. Then they hear some rocket boots boosting downwards before them.
It's another giant robot-looking guy.
It's Dingo
and he
in
says,
full robotic power armor.
He says, "Good day, mate."
He's just playfully like he's Steve Irwin.
He looks like an absolute
I think it's a very
freak.
interesting creative decision to first display Dingo's upgrade before everyone else, considering the only upgrade he got from himself was just new armor.
Yeah, like his is like the least like insane, but like it alone is already pretty crazy. It's Dingo themed armor. It's like there's like an animal head on it. It's already a lot.
Yeah.
And Goliath and Elisa, but they both gasp.
Yeah, they both have like an exasperated gasp.
They're
at
so
seeing
shocked
that.
by that.
And then they then they hear more robotic whirring coming from behind them, and it's Jackal.
And he's walking like in
He's
like
crawling
weird,
up on some
know.
boxes with his boots and high heels like he's Lady Gaga or some shit. Like, and he's now like in this half cyborg steampunk looking dude with like this mechanical eye patch he's got on. So yeah, he just fucking runs up to them bearing claws all of a
like
sudden.
Wolverine claws.
And then he says, "What's the matter? Never seen a cybernetic jackal before?" Like he's a fucking pirate.
His stand-up routine is unmatched.
Unbelievable.
There's alligators in the sewers.
We've come a long way from them. Now they are the alligators in the sewers. Then fucking Hyena is just scaling the beams above them, leaping from beam to beam like some kind of wild animal.
She's just like giggling,
Yeah,
like
cackling like a crazy person.
like a hyena.
She does like a stripper pole dance kind of move
Yeah,
against
she
some
does
sort of
down the
pipe,
pole.
grinding down on it with her claws. Then they're all just acting like a bunch of freaks with Dingo just standing there being the most subtle one.
Standing there, he's just like randomly just like swiping at things.
So like Dingo's wearing armor. Jackal and Hyena are both wearing. They're both like robot people now.
Yeah.
But then of course we're now just getting to the reveal of the bestest
no.
boy.
The big bad
A
wolf.
special boy's coming up. Overhead, Goliath, Elisa, and Hudson hear some boxes being rummaged with.
He's just throwing crates.
Then one gets knocked down, nearly falling on them, and Goliath instinctively protects Elisa and his wings. The three of them just look up and overhear some testosterone-fueled growling. Then seeing
he's on T now.
Seeing yes, that's exactly it. He's on T. It is kind of like a transgender allegory. Who knows? But now they're seeing, clad in just a singlet piece of spandex and arm bracers like he's fucking Madonna in the Hung Out music video.
He's designed a new outfit for
Wolf now turned into a complete furry wolf man.
Yes,
He
werewolf,
is embracing his gay dreams without even realizing it.
a mutate,
He is
furry.
not only a wolf man, but he has let his hair down lower.
Mm-hmm.
It's still
Grown it
tied up
out.
at the bottom, but he seems like, let's just say it, like in this form, he seems way more flamboyant and
Because
effeminate.
He feels more free to be himself.
It's
true
almost
self.
like he's trying to mimic Goliath. The way he like lands on the boxes, like he's a gargoyle landing like with his wings and everything.
Yeah, he doesn't.
He's like trying to emulate
like
Goliath.
and he's trying to throw Goliath like Goliath did to him later too.
Yes. His hair and brows are like a much more light platinum white color, and his brows are also much bushier than before, almost having these kind of like metalhead spikes to them. His eyes are red around the iris and pooled in like this ocean of yellow moon. He did lose his mustache tragically.
Yeah, but he keeps his beard.
He kept his beard.
His long hair.
It's now mostly connecting around his jawline area, and his mustache almost working its way up but being lost in like wolf's timber fur color all over his face. His nose is like much more pointed and crinkled, like a bit goblin-like. His ears are like big and pointed. You know what big ears you have.
Yeah, they're almost like elf ears, like big werewolf elf ears.
Yes.
I liked it. It's a good
His arms, legs, and feet are completely bare and exposed. Not to mention his legs are like anthropomorphic. Like they look like he's got like hind legs. He can jump more, and they're extremely muscular.
Digitigrade, is that?
Yes, that's kind. Yeah. He's got like Wile E. Coyote feet. You know, like he's got them big old stompers.
Yeah, like they're that sort of shape.
Yeah, big and clawed and can probably stomp on you something hardcore. And you know, I don't know how big Wolf's feet were as a human, but they're huge here.
We've never gotten to see them.
No, release the wolf feet.
Yeah,
pics.
release the wolf feet.
His curves and waistline are still somewhat like kind of hourglass shape, leading up to his big broad chest.
Yeah, like why does he have such a narrow waist for other men to grab?
Yeah, like his chest is tragically concealed by his singlet and his armored chest piece shaped in the symbol of the pack, almost like it's the pack that's holding back his masculinity.
Interesting. I think that it's weird that he only armors his chest and like none of the rest of his body. It's like
I wholeheartedly think Wolf needs to just like, you know how like Claw later when we meet him is just wearing nothing but a Speedo. That's how Wolf needs to rock it.
I think that would look better.
That would look way better.
Sometimes
and people would be way more thirstier for him because I think a lot of people see his singlet as kind of like a leotard shaped garment and
like a gymnastic
sort of and which makes sense because he's kind of like an acrobat.
He's a circus strongman sort of look. But yeah, now it's like evolved and it just sort of it doesn't mesh as well as it used to.
Yeah. So he lands Ninja Spire styled on the boxes, kind of mimicking how Goliath positions himself when he lands on something. Just by looking at him, you can see his mutated form is heavily inspired by Goliath, with his hair being let down more and his masculine figure being more exposed, and I'd say his inhuman features bringing more of the flamboyancy to his masculinity. He seems more to like be stripper attuned in his form, and I'm all for it. And I know there are people who prefer Wolf's human form, but...
Guilty as charged. I think his human form is just super hot, is what it is.
That's fair, but he is such a big, pretty boy like this. I love him for it.
Maybe if he has another transformation after this one, he evolves like even more into a monster man. Maybe then I'll think he's like maximum hotness.
Well, it depends on just like how monstrous he gets.
Yeah,
he
might go down a bad
I don't want the same shit that happened to his character in the 2012 TMNT series to happen because that was just a train wreck.
Yeah.
Like, his character never got better, turned into
this... Oh, you mean Clancy Brown's character?
Yeah.
Okay.
Sorry. Yeah. Let me take a few steps back there. I got lost in my information.
Dog Pound, I know.
Yeah, so I'm talking about Dog Pound, who just turns into Razor, who's this big, ugly, like, monster thing, and then just eventually gets killed off.
It still needs to be
never
a hot
gets
monster.
better.
Yeah.
But anyways,
But hold on. Speaking of becoming more monstrous, and this scene particularly, when he's like shouting angry during this scene, you might have thought he was just off model, but actually, originally Wolf was supposed to become more monstrous looking based on his emotions.
Whoa!
Which makes sense because of what happens later.
Like he hulks out. Almost.
Yes.
Yeah.
So they had a lot of trouble, and that was part of the reason why this
episode
had
really
so much animation
expensive because you have to. There's like so many different character models.
Yeah. It didn't really work out, and they didn't try it again in Grief for Vendettas, but that was the intent.
So if he was like calm, would he look like a human, or just like less monstrous wolf person?
Calm is his normal. Like when you see him walking around, that's his normal.
Okay.
But like during this fight, at certain points, his face becomes more bestial.
Yeah. Interesting.
Yes.
Oh wow, it's like he's got like a physical mood ring, but for his whole body, man.
Yeah, you can tell what he's feeling by like how
big his tits are.
His tits are. His butt grows when he's angry. Well, that's another thing that would mimic Goliath, because we all know that Goliath's tits grow when he's feeling strong emotion.
So long story short, this is the closest Wolf has ever come to coming out of the closet.
Yeah. He has a lot of work.
When we first saw him in Thrill of the Hunt,
he's
much more subdued in terms of behavior and is significantly less extravagant than how he is by the time we get here and after he mutates. More hot-blooded. Almost seems like he can breathe easier, but like also get angrier.
Climbing up on what you were just saying, that's another thing that is similar to a trans person.
Yes!
Like, because when they start to transition, they feel like they can be more themselves.
Yes!
Like, they don't need to, like, sort of restrain themselves as much. It's something that commonly happens.
Yes.
When that process begins.
I've seen, like, the character as Wolf constantly struggle with the fact of, like, you know, he is a man and he's trying to own up to that role. I'm not ruling out the possibility that Wolf could be transgender, but I'm saying if that were the case, it would probably also make sense in retrospect with all the queerness he resonates and his fascination for big men.
Like, the thing about the transformation, like, the beast transformation here is, like, it can stand for, like, many different... Like, there's many different readings that could be applied to it, so, like... I definitely do think there are, like, queer, trans, like, all sorts of different stuff you could apply to it.
Yeah. And his transformation is so much more unique compared to the twins who just become basic, like killing machines. With Wolf, there's like a sense of genuine identity crisis going on. Okay, so I digress. Like that spooky technological music just intensifies as like the pack, like with their transformations revealed, now surround the four. With Elisa curling up into Goliath's boobs for moral
she
support.
hugs Goliath because she's scared, and I'm like, Elisa.
That's very out of character for her.
Yeah, I thought that was weird.
She's just kind of like a component in this episode rather than an actual herself.
What's happening? I just the pack is really scary right now. They're all like weird monster people.
I mean, so Hudson even says something along the lines of, even the Archmage's sorcery brewed no creature like these.
Another great... I love every time they bring up the technology versus magic, like, dichotomy, and, like, technology is usually worse.
Yeah.
Very often.
Yeah. Basically saying that the pack's freak levels outdo any form of black magic that could ever happen.
And by this point, they're trying to slip in any reference to the Archmage they can.
Yeah, because he's going to show up pretty soon.
And they want people to actually remember he exists when he shows up.
So Goliath turns to Hudson. He's like, hey, we have defeated them before. And then Hyena just shouts, not the new upgraded models, while doing like a handstand and leaping into the air.
She's like bouncing around the site like a pinball.
Like a
she's
spring.
just like, wee!
Goliath spreads his wings and like tosses Elisa to the side, trying to get her out of the way of any impending attacks. And Elisa does like a little tuck and roll, leading into her backflipping to her feet and pulling out her pistol.
Yeah, she's been practicing.
Hyena with her heels magnetically latching to like steel beams further up the structure overhead. She's like bouncing like all around the place, like you were just saying, like a pinball.
Like she is fully like I think she's probably the most fucked up looking person here. Like the way her body moves in this episode is actually like very scary looking.
I think body
like
horror.
Kids definitely are like
horror.
actually scared of looking at her because she's just like she's so inhuman now.
Yeah.
She's almost like a spider.
And Elisa is like trying to like aim her pistol left and right, prepared for anything, but she can't keep track of this shit.
It's too crazy.
The freak levels.
Yeah, the freak levels they're too much.
So Goliath shouts for Elisa before his wrist is grabbed and devily pulled back by an armored dingo. Goliath's eyes glow white as he tries to deliver a punch, but
no effect.
His fist reverberating off the TIM mechanism.
A pure no-cell.
He groans in pain, attempting to regain like the feeling in his hand, and then Meanwhile, Hyena's landing on another beam with her heels, continuing to make her way after Elisa, who's still just frantically aiming her gun around.
just randomly aiming her gun in different directions.
Hyena leaps down and kicks Elisa, knocking the gun out of her hands, and I think Elisa's like defeated after that.
Yeah, I think that knocks her out.
It's kind of like easy.
But Dingo's a bro here.
Yeah,
he uses what looks like some sort of like a sonic blaster or something, and he knocks Goliath back. Right into Wolf's arm.
So, as Goliath tumbles backwards from Dingo's blast, suddenly he feels the warmth of a big, muscular, furry arms catching and cradling him by the chest, and Wolf's just like, grr, may I have this dance, Goliath? Like, he's literally... So, as Goliath is helplessly caught in the Wolfman's grasp, Wolf leans in and does like a more animal-sounding growl than your typical testosterone-fueled growl that you'd hear from him. And in this scene, we get that commonly shared around the close-up of mutated Wolf on all the wiki pages, where we can see the details of his transformed face in the moonlight.
He looks very happy.
He's so happy to see Goliath. Like, he's never happier. He leans in, he's got like these sharp fangs and bushy eyebrows and those intense red eyes, and it's like, I feel like Jane from like the Tarzan movie when she's like drawing like Tarzan's eyes, and she's just like, I've never seen such eyes. So intense, focus. And also, is he like leaning in to bite or kiss Goliath?
Give him a hickey, maybe?
Give him a hickey. What we don't talk about is the fact that, like, while we're seeing this, Wolf is holding Goliath in his arms and is leaning his face towards him. Like, we're seeing Goliath's perspective here. He doesn't sink his teeth into him by any means. It's almost like he's trying to show off his new look to Goliath more than anything. Like, us as the viewer seeing Wolf's face in the moonlight is sort of taking on what Goliath sees. Wolf carrying Goliath and leaning in. Had the shot not been so close, I feel like it would have been much more intimate looking. Yeah. Goliath remembering Wolf from their one-on-one brawls, and Wolf is just now showing off this form to try and compensate for his lack of Goliath's strength, and then he's just like, "Grr, you like the sight, Goliath?"
Like, their faces are probably inches apart.
Baby boy just wants attention and praise for what he's done to himself.
Well, he's
pathetically cute. I'd even consider this scene the masculine equivalent to a woman who is attempting to woo her mate with her new makeover.
How do I look?
How do I look?
Very good. I must say I'm amazed.
You know, when you stop looking at Wolf for being a man and much more for how his personality is shaped around the perspective of manliness, the queer subtext just transforms into text, and it's riveting to witness that happen in scenes just like this. We're going to be getting much more of this down the line now that kind of Wolf has embarked on a remarkably strange and queer physical transformation. Mm-hmm. However, Goliath, in response to Wolf's advance, is straight up... Like, he just grabs his, like, face nose muzzle and, like, kind of...
my thumb through your eye, you little bitch!
Yeah.
I'm gonna put my thumb through your eye, you little bitch!
Like, almost in, like a smack motion. It's like the attitude of your pet is trying to kiss you and you really don't want them to do that right now. Like, Goliath grabs his face and starts pushing him back and almost like, no, bad boy. While meanwhile, off in the background, there's just like an unconscious Elisa. And Jackal's like also there. He's just like awkwardly watching the gay display of beastmen all up in each other's personal space.
No, in reaction to what Wolf does next, Jackal starts rooting.
Yeah, he starts like pumping his fist.
In Leader of the Pack, where he and Dingo were watching Wolf wrestle with Coyote, when they were both just like,
yeah. They just start pumping their fists like, you go fucking wrestle those men.
Like, sometimes Jackal has, like, moments of, like, oh yeah, I'm a guy, and I love guy things, and I love when guys wrestle each other. It's really cool.
Mirroring when, like, Wolf was picked up by Goliath earlier, Wolf counters Goliath's grip, and as soon as he does, what does this big boy do? He grabs Goliath by the tits, no, not by the tits, by the biceps, yanks him upwards, and it doesn't necessarily show where Wolf's left hand is grabbing. Presumably, his other arm, his upper thigh, his lower waist, those are the other alternatives. But he's now just straight up holding Goliath over his head like he's about to put him on like he's a hat. And you can see Goliath's ass here, but whatever Wolf can see from that angle is probably very not... Like, it's a lot bigger. It looks like Wolf is picking Goliath up and sucking his dick.
You know, because he has to go after the...
It's like Goliath's dick could just be dangling out of his loincloth, and Wolf's desperately trying to get a good long look at it up close. Like,
suckle himself on
like it. He's like, oh my god, is Goliath's dick bigger than mine?
Is it bigger? What about my new dick?
One of my biggest headcanons is, like, I've always seen Wolf as something of a brat bottom pillow princess that he tries to repress. Like, his existence revolves around discovering more knowledge about Goliath's dick, or finding any dick that's quite like Goliath.
He's very interested in other men's dicks.
Yes. Wolf is, like, too stubborn and insecure to admit it, but I feel like, you know, he's, like, obsessed with that. And also, like, Jackal cheering in the background. He's like, yeah, Wolf, you suck that canonically big dick.
He supports him.
So much in the ways of, like, as far back as time is told, Helga tossing around Arnold and Hey Arnold, or Libby tossing around Jimmy and Jimmy Neutron, or Bluto tossing around Popeye from the Popeye cartoons. Wolf then uses his newfound strength to toss Goliath across the area. I also could have used, like, Aaron tossing, like, John.
Oh my god.
In Farscape. So, like, Goliath lands some distance away. The next thing we see is Wolf just standing there with his hands at his waist in that Wonder Woman pose again, just looking super proud of himself.
Of course.
As Hudson sneaks in on him from behind, you know,
it's all up to Hudson now.
So, like, his actual reaction is just to stand there with his hands on his hips with a big grin on his face, like, yeah, I got him. See, I'm the real man, you big, sexy, jerk. Yeah, jerk, that's what I meant to say. So Hudson comes in from behind and tackles Wolf to the ground to try and save Goliath from Wolf's evil gay clutches. So what does Hudson do exactly? Well, let's break this down.
He takes a very brave stance here and is like, I know the way to subdue this man.
Somehow, Wolf ends up landing on his back, with Hudson pressing down on his shoulders with his claws. His knees holding Wolf's anthropomorphic legs, and it looks like he's just ravenously dry humping Wolf. Wolf the whole time is kind of wigging out, like freaking out. Like he might genuinely be gay panicking in this moment.
I mean, Hudson has sort of stumbled upon, like, probably the best way to, like, disable him.
I mean,
you know?
Yeah, but that also, like, sets off Wolf's emotions, like, because he's gay panicking at the moment.
Yeah, that makes his pecs bitter.
He tries to grab Hudson's shoulder, but Hudson does, like, this forward thrust of his body against Wolf, who's pinned to the ground, and Wolf actually, like, lurches his hand back for a second, like, whoa!
Oh, yeah, like
he almost hesitates, like he's unsure if he wants to even fight him off. Do I really want you to get off me right now? You know, Wolf has just got a complete whirlwind going through his little brain during this scene.
He just got to dominate Goliath, and
it's almost like Wolf's gay.
By Hudson. Yeah, almost like that.
Meanwhile, Goliath in the background gets to his feet and sees what's going on with Wolf and Hudson. He's just kind of like leaning back, like, oh. I don't know if I want to get involved with whatever's going on there right now.
But then he sees the fucking floating Xanatos head and is like,
that's the thing. Source of the trouble.
I gotta beat that.
This is why they're all fucking like this now.
And I'm just like, it's not attacking you. Like, attacks the other people.
Like, we cut back to, like, Hudson on top of Wolf, and Wolf's face is just like, what is this expression, like, saying?
Orgasm. Wolf is just coming in his
shocked, surprised, scared. This sequence reminds me a lot of, like, Goliath and Wolf's fight in season 1, episode 6, where Goliath, like, effortlessly deflects Wolf's fist. Yeah. And Wolf makes that face displaying just sheer fear of what he doesn't understand, like, or a fear of what he doesn't understand about himself. Like, he's having that same level of fear happening right now as Hudson's literally pinning him to the ground. It's like the displays of strength that the gargoyles show freaks him out because he doesn't know why his body is, like, so responsive to that
why
shit.
Why am I getting a boner? Like, this is not what men are supposed to get when they wrestle other men.
Yes! You know, and even with the new upgrade, he still runs into the same emotional deflective states he did when he was just a normal human.
Like, he can change his appearance.
The more things change, the more things stay the same. Hudson sitting on top of Wolf is so fascinating because Hudson just sees this as, like, a normal, like, daddy putting an unruly boy in place. But to Wolf, this is, like, the most horrifying physical brush with the terms of reality that he's encountered.
Yeah, like, Hudson has had to milk men before. You know, it's all part of the business for him.
Does Wolf have a boner? Yes.
Yes,
if he does have one, he's afraid of it. and doesn't want anyone to find out about it and wants to do anything he can in his power right now to stop people from finding out he's super hard.
It's so sad.
It is sad. Wolf is sad. As he's attempting to straddle Wolf into place like the bad boy he is, Hudson responds back to Goliath.
Yeah.
Follow it, which is like being Coyote's head.
Yeah.
I'll take care of this forest demon.
Okay, like that's a line. So like, question 1. Has Hudson encountered demons like this before? Specifically being like, has he fought werewolves in the past?
Mythology.
So, someone did ask Greg on Ask Greg, has Hudson encountered forest demons before? And Greg's response was no spoilers.
No spoilers. No spoilers.
Greg! I'm gonna throttle you! This episode aired in like 1994!
I know, like...
It's been like 40 years!
Just spoil it already. Spoil it already.
To be fair, this question was asked in like 2001.
Whatever.
When the first comics
we
were
need to
running.
go back to some of his old answers and be like, okay, I'm just gonna answer them now. He needs to review his old work.
We need the answers, man!
We need to find him at a convention and like hold him down and punch him.
Just kind of like Hudson's doing to Wolf here.
Yes. Well, no. Not like that.
No, we'd probably we'd have to cancel the podcast if we did that. Anyways.
Okay, there's a really funny scene with Jackal coming up. So Jackal is fighting Bronx, because those are the two rivals here. And he's saying, round and round he goes. Where he stops, only he knows. And
round,
he looks like...
round and round Jackal goes. Where he stops, only he knows.
And he looks like so... Like, he thinks he said, like, the best line of all time. And meanwhile, me watching, I have to physically, recoil from it, because it's, one of the worst things I've ever heard.
Everything that's causing you to recoil, I want you to know, is a rousing tech ninja about Jackal.
It's, one of the worst lines I've ever... I was like, someone wrote this line down, and, had an actor deliver it. I was like, I can't believe this. But Bronx responds by just, tearing Jackal's arm off, which is pretty hardcore.
No, what the fuck?
But Jackal looks oddly, happy about it. He's like, oh, you fell right into my trap. Because a moment later, the arm, frees itself from Bronx's mouth and, scuttles back to Jackal like it's a crab. And he just, reattaches it.
Oh, God, it's so creepy.
Yeah, and then he punches Bronx. He punches their dog. That's fucked up.
Yeah.
You don't do that shit.
So that's where the commercial break technically is, but then we return to a shot of Dingo, Hyena, and Jackal looking down pridefully at a defeated Lisa and Bronx.
And they all have their hands on their hips.
Yeah, I don't know why. Yeah, Wonder Woman poses everywhere. So Dingo struggles to take his helmet off and just sighs, catching his breath, and then...
Sorry.
Go ahead.
I thought it was very interesting. He's almost he's gasping, he's uncomfortable inside the suit, which is
that's a good point.
Notable because he's not comfortable with the transformation like the rest of the pack is. He does not like the state that he has gone to.
Yeah, that was in when he Greg sent his notes back. One of the things he mentioned was that at any point possible, have him take off his mask as if he's uncomfortable.
Yeah,
yes, Greg! Oh, so good.
Yes.
And not to mention, I mean, that kind of... I do wonder, because it's what if he kept that... Because we know what happens with Dingo later, with, the suit that...
Yeah, he gets a suit that is much more...
agreeable.
Yeah.
But it's kind of interesting...
plucks his ass while he's wearing it.
Because the way it's described in the notes for Upgrade of Dingo in his suit reminds me of Peter Parker in the symbiote. He didn't like wearing that, and he maybe...
But then when Dingo gets his own symbiote, he does like wearing it.
Yeah, so it's interesting how they subverted that. Maybe in another universe, Dingo was taken over by the pack armor or whatever. I don't know.
Well, that would have been fucked up.
It would have been fucked up. I'm glad they didn't do that. So as Dingo does this, though, Wolf walks up, just bridle carrying an unconscious Hudson. I kid you not.
Like a blushing bride.
Like a blushing bride. Like they just finished a ravenous time together. So we don't know how that fight turned out.
Yeah, I think that also ended up getting cut because of animation issues.
Naturally, a lot of questions are conjured.
Hudson was fucked into his own consciousness.
Just how Wolf bested Hudson in that wrestling match, because last we saw Hudson was getting a little physical with him. Mm-hmm. So our good friend and collaborative listener, Remy, has his own theory. He says, and I quote, I kind of like to think that at some point, namely between the moment Wolf knocked Hudson out and the moment he took Hudson to the pile of unconscious heroes, Wolf whipped his dick out and rubbed it on Hudson's face to mark Hudson with the smell of his dick as sort of an extra power move. I'm the real daddy here sort of thing. He continues, and I paraphrase, there are few smells in this world that are as good as the smell of an aroused man's glands. Wolf should know that full well.
He knows all about that.
So to get the smell of his aroused glands on another male is a power move for him. Of course, if someone does it to him, he'll snarl about it, even though his dick gets rock hard in record time from the smell of cock on his face.
Yeah, he hates it.
You could theorize, other people can theorize maybe a little more than dick smelling and or rubbing went on between Wolf and Hudson back there, but I'll leave that entirely up to everyone's imaginations. All I'm saying is all the visceral imagery you can get out of that is sexy as hell. It could also be considered a bridging point as to why whenever there's porn of Wolf, he's paired up with Hudson most of the time. That's up to the viewer's jurisdiction, but artists such as like a non-dude bulge, and I know the commissioner Jagnite, and I've commissioned a few artists to see Hudson and Wolf together because they're my two favorite characters in this show.
Yeah, you have this great singlet picture for the two of them.
Yes, and they're both hot as hell. Not everyone thinks Wolf is hot, but those people are dead to me.
Yeah, they don't need
Sorry,
to look at, they don't need to look at your sexy commissions.
No, they don't. Fools. No, and they don't have to listen to this podcast either. So shut up, you fools.
You're listening to this intentionally, on purpose. No one's forcing
I made you listen to this. And it's not my favorite shit, but one of those pairings you just want to see the way they fuck each other. Mm-hmm. So anyways, after
it's sort of spicy.
It is. Yeah. I have like a lot of frames of just Wolf carrying Hudson because it's hot. Anyways, after Wolf sucked Hudson's dick once he knocked him out, he bridal carries him over to the pile of defeated heroes and just nonchalantly drops him to the ground with a thud like he's a sack of potatoes.
And Hudson like moans.
Yeah, I talk about the moan. It's
like a sensual sound.
Okay, so like first of all, bedroom manners, Wolf. Someone teach this man. Second off, I think it's supposed to be like a groan of pain, but it's hard to tell because it sounds like he just got his world rocked, man. He's still trying to wrap his dazed little mind around whatever the hell Wolf did to him off screen. It's almost like a post-fuck moan. Speaking from experience...
sperm is still, leaking from orifices.
Speaking from sexual experience, that is very close to what a man's submissive orgasm sounds like when he's getting fucked in the bedroom. Dingo...
we have the voice of experience here, everyone.
You guys have anything else you want to say about that?
I think you said it all.
I said it all. Yes.
Yeah.
Dingo begrudgingly turns to Wolf after that.
This is where the big breakup begins.
Yes, and just bratantly remarks, "I hope you're not planning to eat your catch." There's something real sad sounding the way he says that. It's as if he genuinely doesn't even know if Wolf's gonna do that.
Well, yeah, because it's sort of it's like an insult, but it's also like a reprimand. It's just he's not sure how far Wolf has gone.
You want to be a fucking wolf now, like a dog, bark bark. You're gonna eat your fucking prey.
It's any remark he makes to hold Wolf back. It's also going to have that element of he's scared of what Wolf has become.
Yeah,
and he wants Wolf to go back to the old ways, which is of course impossible now. Because just as Hudson said, you can't go back. You cannot go backwards.
Yeah,
you can only go forward.
Yeah, no, it's really sad, And when we cut to Wolf, he's got a frown on his face.
Okay, so someone after hearing that line asked Greg, "Would any of the pack actually eat a gargoyle?" Do you want to take a bet as to what his response was?
Yes.
What do you think?
Yes.
Just a flat...
I just meant yes as the response.
Just a flat yes?
I think Wolf would eat a gargoyle.
His response was, Hyena, definitely. Not sure the rest of the pack has her appetite.
Yes! She's a fucking cannibal. Yeah.
Hyena is the most fucked up one, man.
Like, knowing that it's a sentient creature would make her want to eat it more. Like, she's like... okay, do you think she's eaten human before? Do you think she's eaten human flesh?
I don't... Maybe she ate their parents.
Oh my god! Yeah, that's
there's a lot of theories. Maybe, I don't know. They tore up their parents and, hid them in the attic, and then that's how they became criminals. Who knows?
Okay, you know the scene in Utena where, that teacher's hitting on Mickey, and then Mickey's sister, almost kills him?
Yeah, that was awesome.
That, I feel like Hyena and Jackal had, a similar thing happen to them, but, Hyena ate the person. To get rid of the body.
Yeah.
Like in Ginger Snaps.
Oh, shit.
You have to get rid of the body.
Oh my gosh, Jackal and Hyena are kind of like Bridget and Ginger.
A little bit.
With the fucked up incestuous subtext and everything. I like how I was worried you were going to say yes, but that wolf would eat a gargoyle. I'm glad it was specifically Hyena.
I think Greg knows what he's on.
Yes. So, yeah, Wolf's just got this little frown on his face after hearing that. And then Wolf brats right back at him. Now that I'm in charge, I'm not taking any more of your cracks. So it's like, Wolf, you stupid boy. First off, it's funny how this one line says so much because it infers Dingo clearly had issues with Wolf's change for a while now and has been vocalizing it for a while. Mm-hmm. But... then, you bring in the fact that they wouldn't be talking this way to each other if they didn't care. Mm-hmm.
For me, I guess I get what Dingo is saying. I don't think it's coming out right. Because personally, I sort of think it's fine that Wolf decided to be a furry.
No, I'm all for
it. But Dingo's problem with Wolf right now, it's not really that he's a furry. It's because he's done off the deep end in so many other ways. But he's taking the external, facet of Wolf is this external change he's undergone. He's using that as a metaphor for everything else.
Yeah.
So I do think that's problematic. I think that Dingo is doing that, especially since being a furry is an LGBT code word these days. So I don't think he's not upset that Wolf is gay. He's upset that just he's becoming a crazy man. Yeah. And he can't go along for this ride anymore. Dingo is he just can't keep being.
I think this all goes back to what you change on the outside doesn't make what's going on with you on the inside any better.
Yeah, but Dingo is choosing to focus on the outside. It's easier to talk about. You don't need to talk about the other thing that's really bothering him.
The big
if
bad
you talk
wolf
about
in the
the
room.
wolf thing. Yeah.
So meanwhile in the background, Goliath is climbing onto one of the upper floors in search of the floating coyote head, kind of tiptoeing his big gargoyle claws so the pack doesn't catch wind of him or that Wolf doesn't smell that big manly gargoyle dick and balls coming around. And then, when somehow he doesn't fucking notice, and you can see in my frames here, the giant, he looks in that direction and then doesn't even notice the giant hulking robot on the platform.
He's looking for a head right now, okay? He doesn't have time to look at robots.
Yes, that's true.
He's busy.
He's
focused.
With glowing red eyes and a big old pack symbol for a head. It looks like a big old yellow transformer furry.
There's a lot happening. Goliath can't do everything.
It comes to life after, Goliath passes by, and then you can just hear Coyote go, Goliath, I'd like you to meet my better half.
Gay? Question mark?
So then we cut back to Dingo and Wolf having a little spat, i.e. break up.
Yeah, but this is more the line I was talking about when Dingo's saying, "You're not our leader, Wolf. You're barely our species."
Yeah.
I still can't believe what you three did to yourselves.
And then Wolf lifts up his little fist as he's saying that because he just seems so offended by what Dingo said. And then I think, oh god, I get into it here. Just brace yourselves.
Go for it.
Okay, so oh my gosh, I go into the...
I would expect of all the parts in the episode for you to talk a while about, this would be the parts.
Yeah, well, you know, like, it was like what I was saying earlier. He feels more fluid and expressive in his current form, and I'm not saying that, you know, like, I'm pretty much saying that Wolf turning into a furry is the closest this man has come to coming out of the closet. But it may as well be because now he's physically altered his appearance to try and measure up to another man, and Dingo's rejection of Wolf's transformative state could be compared to a friend unhappy that you, change something physical about yourself, plastic surgery, etc.
Yeah, like get a new haircut.
And because Dingo is kind of like a mess himself at the moment, or in general, he's not at all qualified to be the one to help wean Wolf out of this situation. You know, Dingo did the best he could do at that point in time. And at that point in the time, the best thing he could do is jeer at Wolf for changing himself with remarks like, "Don't eat your snack," or "You're barely our species."
Yeah.
You know, Dingo would not be saying this if he weren't emotionally affected by Wolf's transformation. I mean, the twins...
Exactly. Like, he isn't thinking reasonably either right now, because he's just like...
I mean, the twins are horrific in themselves. It speaks for itself, but I think...
But the twins are almost like an afterthought. Like, he mentions them, but, like, he only really cares what Wolf has done to himself.
Like at this point, Wolf is, like, his only last bud now that Fox is gone, and he's not happy that Wolf did them to himself, not just because it bothers him, but also because it's the last thing Wolf needs right now is an ego boost. With a willing bodily transformation. It's sad because they're two men who are so disconnected from being like a functioning member of society, and they've worked together for a very long time in this group of misfits because things are changing now. Dingo, being the sanest of the group, is afraid of it, and while he cares for Wolf, he's also become afraid of Wolf, afraid of what he looks like now and what Wolf's become and what he may do with this new evolved form. Now that Dingo's had his little spiel in the spat, we kind of segue into Wolf's response, which is much more deluded and emotionally disgruntled. He steps up to Dingo, pointing his big beastly claw at him, and just grunts out, "We did what you were afraid to." He sounds like...
That's such an interesting line from him, too. Like, what does that mean? And, like, what you were afraid to. I think I really enjoy that a lot.
Yeah, no, because it's like Wolf is like, "I just took this big extra step to get a promotion, man. What are you fucking on?" Or, you know, like, "I pretty much am being myself the best way I know how with the situation I'm giving. Why aren't you being more supportive of me like you used to?"
Do you think that... I feel like since Wolf began this transformation, I feel like he and Dingo have not had sex.
No, you're correct. I
like...
wholeheartedly believe that. Like, now the sex has been cut off and Wolf is getting even more frustrated, and Dingo's just getting, like, emotionally distant and physically distant and just isn't, and, like... Because they were so touchy-feely with each other before.
They really... that first fight in this episode, like, they were like this. They were really connected.
And now it's just like there's so much distance. Wolf sounds like the ghost of Jacob Marley scolding his old partner Scrooge for not joining him in the chains, too. I think this perspective also paints a much more picture because... This perspective Wolf has paints a much more painful picture because to Wolf, this transformation he did to try and measure up to another man is the closest he's come to making a drastic decision to express himself. You know, and body.
It's just a shame because it's coming across in like a really toxic way at the same time. It's like he's getting a step closer to where he wants to be.
He's getting this absolute
going along the wrong
ego
path.
rush from recreating the beauty of what he sees in Goliath for himself. This alpha man beast he's just obsessed with, making this transformative projection, attracted to Goliath's domineering presence and wants to embody that for himself somehow. This transformation fully connecting him emotionally to Goliath and only creating more of an obsessive, instinctual, animal style of love for Goliath. He calls it hate, but let's be honest. Wolf is probably coping with the intense changes to his body and emotional state through seeking out more ego-boosting activity, trying painfully hard to gain a status of leader like a capitalist worker who's devoted himself completely mind, body, and soul to their job. Because of his own self-pressuring, Wolf wants to be validated for this sort of decision, and any rejection of it could push some, particularly sensitive buttons, which we all know Wolf is sensitive as fuck.
Yeah.
Despite what he tries to maintain. Because of this, he lashes out at Dingo and is calling him a coward. "We only did what you were afraid to." Because of Dingo's attitude here, that heavily triggered Wolf because it was someone not accepting him, someone he cared about, and his response is essentially, "You don't like who I am? Go fuck yourself, coward." The familiar state of trying to mask that these words are hurting him. Wolf is scaring Dingo in response because Dingo just hurt his feelings.
And it's also worth because up until this point, Dingo has been probably the most supportive person for Wolf.
Yeah.
So it's even more of a betrayal that Wolf is probably feeling because it's you were supposed to be on my side.
Yeah, everybody hears Wolf talk and just thinks ooh, he's so testosterone and manly, and I want him to fuck me. But it's no, there's so much going on there beneath the surface. It's tragic, really. Wolf continues, and we agreed whoever backed the biggest gargoyle would lead the pack.
So it just happens to be what I most want to do.
And the twins, the fucking twins are smiling and nodding in the background, knowing they're sure as hell not gonna let Wolf be the leader. I kind of feel like this is implicative of they have no intention of holding that bet up. Because I think the only one who truly cares about bagging the biggest gargoyle
he's the only one who cares
is
about
Wolf.
that. Who came up with this bet? Wolf?
He's
I
making
wonder.
such a big deal about that being their end goal, talking about
gargoyle.
how big Goliath is, and probably Hudson too, and the twins and Coyote just eventually agreed to that bet just to shut him up. Them smiling and nodding here is more them being cheeky about it, because let's be honest, the twins love teasing and making fun of Wolf because it's so fucking
their favorite
easy.
hobby.
It's so easy.
I just wrote down size queen after he said that.
He is a size queen. He is.
Oh my god.
Oh my god. So yeah, I just talk about how sassy and pretty and perfect Wolf is, how he looks, the shoulders, the muscles, the intense red eyes. Good lord, he's beautiful. I don't give a fuck what some of y'all say. So, just as he says that, crashing down from the ceiling above them headfirst and aerodynamic is Goliath.
Just hurtles down.
I don't know why, but when Goliath lands, it looks like a smoke bomb just went off. I guess that place must be dusty.
I guess it's really dusty there. Yeah, it's also if you watch his fall, there's one frame where his ass is right level with Wolf's line. And his loincloth is always riding up, so Wolf probably sees
the visage
a
of Goliath's
there.
dick and ass and balls drives Wolf with neuron activation in the monkey's brain.
Okay, but then my favorite line of the episode comes out.
Okay,
so. The big robo coyote hovers down and he's this massive suit of robot, he's really big, and he says, "Sorry, Wolf, but I think my Goliath tops your Hudson."
He is using top and bottom metaphors to push Wolf's buttons.
It's such a line.
Wolf is physically exasperating at this statement too. He gets confused and makes this little diva pout. What? It's making the idea of being topped is making his asshole clench and driving him insane with anger. And also, we noticed the first sign is something that will continue to haunt me throughout the rest of the show.
What?
Wolf's butt dimples sticking out from the back of his little singlet.
Oh, I didn't notice those.
You wouldn't. I would. I remember being a teenager.
There's a lot of that.
I remember being a teenager and seeing them for the first time and just thinking to myself, wow, not only does he have really great bare legs, but I can see his ass kind of, and he's also a super big and muscular guy, so I guess big muscular men can also show off their ass and legs this.
It changes your whole world when you realize
just
that.
Watching Madonna spritz around in her leotard in the 2000s with the Hung Up music video, and I remember thinking to myself, oh, she's so fabulous, I want to look just like her because she's so spunky and bold, showing off her body like that. So seeing it on a man who is big and pretty-eyed and muscular and hairy, it just really made the dots click in my young, innocent head that I might be gay.
Maybe a little bit.
So, Wolf's ass dimples. I'll be talking a lot about those. Brace yourselves, people.
I do like that the animators do draw them in. I think it's interesting that he's showing so much of his body, but no one else is reacting to it. And I'm if I were there, I would be staring at that all the time.
Wow, that's saying a lot coming from you.
Yeah, surprise everyone! I like asses. I don't believe.
I'm just gonna point out that the people he hangs around often show as much skin as he does.
They're all sort of slutty.
He's showing more skin than them at the like.
No, but I'm talking about the gargoyles.
Oh.
Yeah.
Well,
Like,
he just wants to be a gargoyle. He just doesn't know it
He
yet.
just has to dress sluttier. The sluttier you are, the more like a gargoyle you become.
I'm sure he'll get an even sluttier look. It will hopefully make me just as attracted to him as I am now.
I'm sure that will happen.
Yep. So, and then after this happens, Hyena just looks up at Coyote. She starts getting all outwardly flirty, walking up to him like a hooker in her weird mechanical go-go boots. And she's like, ooh, Coyote honey. And then she puts her hands up together like and looks up at him like some anime girl with some big doe eyes. And she's like, is that you? Cree Summer, ladies and gentlemen.
yeah, I love Cree. She's
Wait,
so good.
Cree Summers is Hyena?
You
Yes.
didn't know that?
No.
Oh my god, she's just...
I didn't know that.
It's so Cree. It's so Cree.
Yes, it's Cree Summer.
Oh my god, I don't believe she voiced a psychotic pervert.
I know, she's like the coolest person IRL too. Like, so for some reason, like, okay, so like the whole time Wolf is just like freezing and watching her being down bad for Coyote, and based off of Wolf's expressions, he's like, even I'm not that freaky.
I know, like everyone is like, whoa.
And then like Wolf is also looking up to Coyote like, why does he have to be bigger than me? Like, also suffering with the size insecurities. I also just think watching a woman being attracted to a man, like, so openly is making Wolf jealous.
He's really confused, because, like, women barely even exist to him in the first place. So he's like, wait, men and women can have sex? What?
Like, it's just jealous that Hyena is a woman and it's easier for her to be all sultry and flirty towards a large man.
How
He can't
dare
bring
she.
himself to do that because they know it'll look gay.
Yeah, he can't.
Even though he looks the way he looks
can't.
right now!
No, he looks gay in a macho way. He can't look gay in a gay way.
Oh my god. So, Wolf is so set off by Coyote's new form and apparent largeness that he just tries to square up to him, which is adorable in retrospect because he's just upset someone's bigger than him would be able to bark orders around, so he goes in diva mode. He's like, hit the road, Sparky. I'm in charge here, like pointing at himself. Then these next frames of Wolf's butt dimples after he says that, just the way he kind of postures himself and settles his large muscular back, his butt is just poking out of his singlet, begging to be released into the cool night air.
He just has a wedgie, like, 24/7.
It's almost like his glutes are gonna flex themselves free, bro. Like, it drives a gay viewer like me insane, knowing the context that Wolf is gay and a size queen, and he's so uptight as a person that he just needs some big gargoyle dick to get all up in there, and hopes of solving his insatiable homo ways. You can tell Wolf's pussy be quaking in that outfit, bro.
I feel like in a lot of cases, I give sideways looks at people who are like, oh, like, Dick would fix him. I feel like Dick might fix Wolf. It might go a long ways to fixing him.
Those are my favorite kinds of men to, like, fixate on, which is like, I somehow know a Dick would fix him.
Yeah, it would help a lot.
These particular kinds of backshots of him burned into my brain ever since I was a young lad, and now they remain there in the forefront of my Wolf fixation. So, Hyena is just kind of scoffing and laughing at Wolf's jeering at Coyote, and she starts defending her cyborg and shining over. She's like, oh, really? I didn't see you take out Goliath. Like, they're both just kind of throwing sass back at each other. The girls are fighting!
She's such a simp already for Coyote. She's like fully like, I'm your girl now.
The pillow princess he is, Wolf crosses his arms all gangster-like, and then Jackal approaches the scene at Wolf's side, and then he starts kind of scolding her.
Okay, this part is so good, because he says, surely you're not siding with this glorified toaster oven. And she says, I find him very attractive.
Yeah, Wolf is like off to the side, like, yeah, you get her, Jackal.
And yet you say you weren't sure if she was attracted to him. Like, she literally...
She wasn't attracted to him as a head before.
How do you know?
Maybe she was. I don't know.
She'll fuck anything.
She definitely finds him very attractive now. But then, okay, Jackal is like, well, that's sicker than usual. But then he turns to Wolf and is like, okay, Hairball, I'm with you. It's like... if Hyena gets to fuck the robot, Jackal is then like, well, in response, I will fuck Wolf.
Yeah.
And like, bitch, that's how the rules
And Wolf
work.
the whole time, his face. Like
He just looks confused.
Like he puts his hand on Wolf's shoulder like he's a pet, which is so funny because right now his sister's grossing him out so much that he's just kind of like, I'll hang out with the closet case werewolf.
Yeah, like I'll
because right now you're kind of wigging me out with this robo fucker stuff. Yeah,
and I'm just gonna say, Jackal and Wolf, they did share a prison cell that one time.
Yeah,
like, I feel like
I don't think
they have known each other.
I mean, I just don't think they
bit.
would ever Jackal's not even Wolf's type.
No, but when you're in prison, you make do.
When you're in prison, you make do. Wolf had to close his eyes and be like, "Oh,
country
Goliath.
girls make do."
Oh, Goliath. So yeah, like Wolf wants to be bitchy at like Jackal for like even calling him hairball and all this other stuff, but like Hyena and Dingo just gave Wolf such a big autism headache that he's just accepting Jackal as the lesser headache option.
Yeah, I mean, well, Jackal is touching his shoulder just like Dingo used to, and physical touch.
Yeah, that's true.
He is go along with whatever you do.
You're right.
Uh huh.
You're right. I didn't notice that.
It's one of his love languages.
Like I'll fuck you. No, God damn it. And I think like Wolf lets out this reluctant like little slight smile here, just cause like, yeah, we can hang out just cause you're the only one not pissing me off right now.
Mm-hmm.
And then Dingo off to the side is just repulsed by everyone at this point and doesn't even know where his place is in this group at all. He's just like, what a choice. Is so funny because he's like, yeah, okay, just side with my mentally ill, freshly ex-boyfriend. He's so damn pouty about it.
Yeah, a robot who thinks he's human, or a human who's gone to the dogs.
Yeah, like, so it specifically shows, like, Coyote and Hyena canoodling when he's talking about a robot who thinks he's human. And then he looks over at, like, Jackal and Wolf, who just look like so mean girls at the moment. And then Dingo's like, or a human who's gone to the dogs, talking about Wolf.
But eventually Dingo does choose Coyote because he goes over and so it says, so what's our next move?
Sheepishly
boss?
Approaches Coyote and he's like, so what's our next move, boss? Yep.
Yeah. And that is where we're going to cut off for this episode of the Loincloth Hour.
Yes.
Check out next episode for the second part of Upgrade.
Yes. So... did we want to do emails?
We do have a bunch of... I think
we have a ton.
We have 4.
And should we do the Deist and the horniest animator stuff?
Oh, yes. We should do that first.
I don't have an answer for either of them.
What are you talking
Because I didn't know. I might have an answer for one of them.
Okay.
Okay. Which one do we do first?
Or actually, should we wait until we finish the whole episode to do the gayest and the horniest?
I mean, I think we can just do it 2 times.
Okay, we can do it 2 times. All right.
So, first half of Upgrade, gayest character.
Well, we know your answer.
I'm not going to say my answer till you guys speak first.
Okay, I'm just going to say Coyote's line of "My Goliath tops your Hudson" is very gay. And also, Goliath and Hudson, their moment in the clock tower is very intimate.
Yes.
They were touching each other.
It's a lot of gay
And
things.
I thought it was very... I thought it was very homoerotic. And I like that the trio were just watching them also while they were doing that. They're not afraid to show their love, unlike some people.
That's true.
Okay.
So that's the gayest character, Coyote?
That might be my answer. Although I know it's not
Wow!
gonna be yours. Okay, well, I mean, because Wolf is like the obvious one.
Well, yeah, but that's
like,
just because you guys hang out around me all the time.
Yeah, like I have to... Listeners... I have to hear about Wolf like every day. So like it's almost like old hat now, but this is the episode, like this is Wolf's gay episode. You know, like it's all in there. All of his gay little quirks.
I fucking hate Coyote.
I'm gonna have to give it to Dingo.
Dingo is pretty gay too.
Yeah,
because
yeah, it's true.
Like we spent like half this episode talking about how gay Dingo is, so
he just like Dingo's problem, like he's trying to turn his boyfriend away from like a life of crime, and it's really hard to do that.
Yeah.
When you're also a criminal.
It's sort of like, what was that Lynch movie we watched with Nicolas
Straight
Cage?
Story?
No, the Nicolas
Wild at
Cage.
Heart.
Wild at Heart. It's like how Laura Dern kept trying to like make her boyfriend not commit crimes anymore, but like,
and then he kept killing people.
accidentally.
All right. Well,
he's a manslaughterer and a robber.
I've already said everything I need to say. So, Wolf's transformation, the metaphor of like gender and his struggle with gender, on top of constantly chasing after Goliath and being a size queen the entire fucking time. Save the big one for me is
the big one for
way
me.
One of the like totally up there.
That is absurdly.
There's a lot of gay lines. My Goliath tops your Hudson. Save the big one for me. Just a lot.
Like Wolf, Wolf is the gayest character. I just wanted to put in like
I think
they're honorable mentions.
He's
of other gay people.
Yes.
Everyone is gay in this episode.
Yes. Okay, so we can segue to horniest moment.
God.
I think for me, it was probably when Wolf pressed Xanatos' head up against Dingo's abs. I just liked that part.
Yeah.
And just like Dingo, like his pants in general. Anytime we see his pants, Dingo looks great.
You guys are desperately just like trying to get away from my Wolf fixation.
It's not that I'm trying to get away from it. It's just I don't share it.
I know. Yeah.
Like I like Wolf a lot. I think.
He's okay.
I think in this episode, sadly, it's not an upgrade for him. It may be a downgrade, in my estimation. Because I just think his human form is hotter than his wolf form.
To each their own.
Yeah.
To each their own. You're allowed to be wrong.
I am. That's the freedom that we have.
What was the horniest moment for you, Hiran? He's so tired, guys. I'm so sorry.
I know, I'm just trying to decide because I didn't think about this ahead of time because I didn't realize we were going to do one for the half episode.
It's tradition.
Yeah, I'm just being wacky.
I know, so I'm just trying to decide real quick. I mean, there is the moment where Hudson and Wolf.
Yes!
Oh yeah, I forgot about that.
That's great. Of course you did.
Like, I don't think I can really pick anything other than that.
That's
great.
There's
straddling,
the bridal carrying, the implied dick rubbing.
Yeah.
There's a lot going on there. Wolf's butt dimples. We can move on now.
Beautiful.
I already talked
dimples.
Plenty about them and how they haunt me. They haunt me, guys. Werewolf cheeks.
Yeah, they're right there.
Alright.
Hairy butts.
So we have at least 2 emails?
We have a whole bunch in the Discord as well.
I got 3 Discord stuff and 2 emails.
Well, let's see one Discord one that's a great transition from what we were just talking about. So.
There must have been a new one that was posted.
This was a while ago, but okay. This is way later on, but how do you imagine Wolf and Dingo would be if they potentially reunite in the later comics post-upgrade?
And who's asking that?
Yeah, sorry,
EJ Wolf?
Yeah, no, sorry. So Hector asked...
Oh, it's Hector, okay.
Yeah, I have all the stuff pulled up. I was like... so this is our friend Hector, who is a huge fan of the podcast. He asks, this is way later on, but how do you imagine Wolf and Dingo would potentially be if they reunite in the later comics post-upgrade? Those two had a decent relationship, and once Dingo was out, Wolf was kind of lost and stuck with the dumbass twins. It's been some time, and I imagine a lot would be said between the two once they find their way back. Keep up the great work, all of you. You rule.
So, Dingo has, sort of chosen the path of justice now. He's, literally a superhero. So I guess it depends. I don't know what direction Wolf is gonna go.
Yeah.
I guess it depends on if Wolf also has a similar arc where he leaves the path of evil behind, or if he it depends what happens to him.
Yeah.
Because I think Dingo being on the Redemption Squad is real good. I feel like he might try to put Wolf on a similar journey.
I think he would want Wolf to improve, all things considered.
Yeah, I think he definitely would still care about Wolf and want to help him.
Yeah.
But it depends on if Wolf would be willing to accept that help.
It's just, I think it's all dependent because, while Dingo's kind of got his current arc set up, Wolf's arc Considering the fact that there are still secrets about his transformation that Greg has refused to share, there's something going on with Wolf that Greg's brewing. I don't know what it is, but I'm interested to see it, and I hope I know it's going to be great.
What if we learned that Hiran was also a werewolf?
I wouldn't give a shit. I would not
give
a shit.
So that lycanthropy, is in Wolf's blood.
Okay, well that's a little interesting, I suppose.
The forest demons.
Yeah, maybe. I personally could see, considering I read the recent comic run with Wolf in it, I could see a few things happening from where we last left off with him, canonically. So, I think there's an important crossroads coming up. We'll see what happens. I definitely think Greg wants to segue towards, the Ultra Pack in the near future and do something similar to what happens here in Upgrade. I just don't...
We don't really want that, necessarily.
Yeah, I don't want...
It depends.
I want Wolf to get not worse.
Yeah, we want him to get better.
I think maybe he would reach, a breakdown point at some point at best. Something happens to Wolf in his story that really makes him reevaluate some shit. But that's what I see happening. Wolfrix asks, as a member of the Love to Hate Xanatos Coyote Club, was I the only one hoping for Wolf to kick Coyote's head like a football out of rebellious spite? No, you were not, Wolfrix. I wanted that so badly. I wanted him to space that fucker out into the ocean. And then he says, thanks for this giant gay blast of a podcast. Also, hashtag justice for Dingo.
Justice for Dingo.
What happened to him?
He was slighted.
Oh, okay.
Justice for him.
I guess.
Dingo deserves everything. He deserves the world.
Okay. And then Crossover says, question for the new episode. If you could be a gargoyle, what type would you like to be? Standard like Hudson, Goliath, Manta Ray, like Lexington, because his wings are attached to his sides, beaked like Brooklyn, beast like Bronx. This is a very...
Yeah.
Maybe we'll get back to this one.
I'd want to look like the art that Spiffy made of Inorod with wings. That's what I would want to look like.
Aqua asks, who do you think tops, Wolf or Craven?
So it depends.
They're both bottoms, end of story.
Are we wait, are we talking about comics Craven or
he doesn't
movie
specify.
Craven? Because if it's movie Craven, he's just some guy.
He's just a normal guy.
So he's just an average person. So I feel like Wolf would dominate him. If it's comics Craven, I feel like he might...
Oh, no. Wolf couldn't handle comics Craven.
No,
No,
not even close.
No, Wolf's always trying to square up. He's like a little guy, but he's big, but he's always trying to square up with fights he can't win, so yeah.
I feel like what it would really be would Sid would knock out Craven, steal his outfit, dress as him, and then Sid would hunt Wolf.
Yeah, that's true.
That's...
And then finally we have Remy's email, who was released from the doctors recently, and I'm wishing him a speedy recovery, because I want my Remy safe and sound and being able to send in emails because he's always so informative. So yeah, he says, hello again, Loincloth Hour crew. Sure has been a while since you guys did an episode. It's great to have you back. Last one was fantastic as you went through everything in Double Jeopardy. It was jam-packed with content, and I enjoyed every second, from all the talk about kinks and the meanings of Thelog's behavior, especially with his three dads, to the funny bits like the very underwhelming screams from Lexington and Xanatos. Some voice actors should really take note from Japanese voice actors who can pull off proper screaming. Also love that you guys are Kamen Rider fans too. I've been one for a long time. It's good to finally know more. Personal favorites are 4Z, O's, Build in Black, and I'm really enjoying the new one, Gav. But I'm getting sidetracked. We're here to talk about Upgrade, and if it's okay with you guys, I think I'll save my thoughts for when you go into the second part. But I am quite amused as I remember you guys not being so enthusiastic about this episode. Is he remembering right?
He might be remembering me, not you. That might be.
I see.
I don't know.
And yet it's the first ever to extend into 2 parts for you guys, so you can bet I'm looking forward to it. But yeah, I can understand both why you wouldn't be much enthused about this one, but also very much into it due to certain reasons. But we'll get into that in the second part of this episode. You all take care and keep being awesome.
Oh, thank you, Remy. And we hope that you feel better and that your hospital visit is beneficial to you.
Yes, that everything goes smoothly.
Yep, so, alright.
We do have one more.
We do?
Yes. So Crass asks, what is the gayest wolf episode to you? I believe this one was aimed very specifically at one person.
Yeah, because, vendettas, end of story.
Okay.
Pie Man.
Okay. Any parting words of wisdom for our fans? We're tired.
You can find me as Manicorn on Patreon and BlueSky and Croup for Affinity.
You can find me as Pangolin Hiran on BlueSky and AO3 and once 3333 on Fur Affinity.
Sydscripts on BlueSky. Sydscripts on Tumblr. Follow the Loincloth Hour on all socials, SoundCloud, YouTube, Tumblr. Whenever I decide to make Tumblr posts. If you follow the blog Gay Cartoon GIFs, sometimes I'll post something there that might be appreciated by audiences of this podcast. So, and you can follow my blog, Sid's Hyperfixation Corner on BlogSpot as well. But yeah.
Woo woo!